do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify the things that you believe in. Have to scream it like a battle cry and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love, those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug, those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make up lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem. I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me to shine. Lucky that I grew up around some mountains we were taught to climb. Without that inspiration, I don't think that this would be my life. Do this for my friends who've scattered all across the country now. I'm out in Sweden walking back through life so I can write it down. Make a living off the sound, so crazy to say out loud. I'm the biggest thing since Travis Rice to come up out the town. Sorry, gotta stunt a little. Used to have my dreams belittled, but it's all a part of it. I know people's minds are fickle, lines between reality and dreams I blur like faded nights. Come up been so good for me, I wish that I could make it twice.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Right, y'all, we do this for you. I do this for my pops, man. I do it for me too. I do it for me too. Hey, thank you guys for being here tonight. I appreciate everybody, man. Welcome to the first episode of Rico Knows. I just decided to start calling it episode 1. We've obviously been doing this every night for a while now, and I haven't had a chance to actually think of what I want to title it. I know I want to say it's trending, right? I talk about everything trending in sports every single night. I go through Twitter, ESPN, the news, whatever, and I try to find stories that not everybody's talking about because I'm tired of all the talking heads hitting every single talking point. So I address things that matter to me, like the transfer portal, things that are kind of obscure in sports, and we talk about it every night while we're here. And then you guys drive the show. You come in here and you ask me questions, and we get down like that. Okay, I answer the questions as best I can. Rico knows. You're not trying to stump me. You're just in here to ask me questions that, matter to you and your fan base. I try to know every fan base. Let me turn my mic up just a tad. There we go. And I do my best. Some nights are good. Some nights are great. No nights are bad. thank you guys for being here. Thank you for all the supporters. I appreciate everybody who shows up early, is waiting. Anyone who shows up before they enter the live chat and they go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps the analytics. It helps the algorithm. It helps us get our name out there. Obviously, we're over 66,000 now on TikTok. Shout out to me for grinding every day, creating content that people enjoy, and just having that gift of having, delivery, being assertive, being informed, well-spoken. I got a compliment today saying my brother and I are well-spoken. I got a twin brother, does the same exact thing I'm doing now, but in a different realm, on a different topic. But yes, we can deliver. But nonetheless, it's a movement, y'all, and we want to be somebody. When those guys started at Barstool, when Pat McAfee started, when the Boys on the Bus started, anybody started these podcasts, and they started doing their job and what they envisioned, I don't know how long it took them all to get off the ground, but I know this. I'm doing this solo, bruh. I'm doing this with me. I got some admin guys. I got some people, some moderators. I got some mods. But I'm doing this. And I'm telling you, it's a grind. It's a grind. It's not easy. Some days there are times I make a video and I'd say I put an hour's worth of effort into a video, maybe 2 hours. Cutting, pasting, editing, a retake, do it again, read more, study this, study that. I put in so much time in a video, and then I put it out, and it don't get but 5,000 views. It doesn't get 5,000 views, and I put in effort, and I love the video, and nobody watched it. Then there'll be a video I make in an instant. There's a video I make in 3 minutes, and it goes to the moon. Over 500,000 views in 2 days, something like that. And it just, I haven't figured out, and I don't care to figure it out. You just keep going. And I keep it in perspective because I can tell you guys this. 6 months ago, when I was making my sports videos, when I was doing my transfer portal updates, and I was doing a transfer portal update on Coastal Carolina and no one gave a shit and it got 800 views, I didn't care. Because I know that if I just stick with it, stay consistent, every fan base is going to start rocking with me. Every fan base is going to get there. So shout out to everybody who supports the channel and who believes in this movement. All those kids who used to write to me and say, oh, you're just trying to be different. You try too hard to be different. No, bro, I am different. I'm different from anything you're reading or seeing on TV. I'm different from every podcast you watch and any radio station. I'm different. Yeah, I'm different, right? I'm letting you know that. We're not wired the same. Sometimes you can't relate to me. Sometimes you have an epiphany and go, holy shit, he's right. I'll take it. So with that, today I got word. I got news. Today somebody said, Rico, you made it. It's like the 10th time I've heard you made it in the last week. Bro, I made it every day. Look around. I'm doing what I love to do for a living. I made it because I'm not dreading going to work 9 to 5 every day. I don't hate my supervisor or my boss. I'm not waiting to find another opportunity because I want to quit. My bills ain't past due. I don't have any debt. I don't have any credit cards. I got money in the bank. I'm good to go. I made it, he said. And let me tell you guys why they said I made it. Because Joe Budden's podcast was talking about me today and played one of my TikToks in its entirety on the show. Joe Budden podcast, episode 637. They said it's an hour and 36 minutes in. Let me tell you guys something. They kind of cut it. It's not where they said it was, but I found it. It's about the Michael Jordan selling of the team thing. And I want to just say, they don't even give me a shout out and say Rico knows. So no, that isn't me making it. But shout out to Joe Budden because somebody got him. Somebody's watching the channel. Somebody got him the info. Somebody on that staff is watching Rico Knows, and that's cool. I'll take it. There's another guy named Dan the Great or something like that. Dan the Man, Dan the Great, gave me a shout out for my coverage on Colorado. This man has 300,000 followers on YouTube. Thank you very much for the praise. Thank you very much for the love. But guess what? We're a movement, y'all. I plan to be bigger than everybody. I'm not sitting here hoping a bigger page recognizes me. I'm not sitting here hoping I get acknowledged by anybody else. I plan to be bigger than all of them. The way you succeed in this world at something like this is having an unhealthy amount of self-confidence. I learned this from Russ. Russ was putting out a song every week on SoundCloud for 2 years for free. It just so happens some of those songs he put out for free, he put out on his debut album again, and he went platinum. He was giving out platinum songs for free. You know, I do high school film review for these kids, and somebody says to me, Rico, why don't you charge to review their film? Charge $20 and they can Cash App you and you can review their film. What? How about I just do it? Do it for free. And then one day when that kid is about to make his announcement to what college he's going to go to, he gives me the exclusive. How about that? How about I get the exclusive? I'm the Adam Schefter of college football. That's where I'm at. I want to be the insider, and I want to get the exclusive first. Before you call On 3 and 24/7, you call me. And guess what? I've had 6 of those today. I've had 6 of those so far in the spring portal. I've had a player reach out to me and let me know where they're headed first and said, Rico, I respect you and your hustle and your grind. I want you to announce it on your channel. This is where I'm headed. Thank you very much. That's the growth we need. That's the direction we're headed. I ain't worried about nothing else. So thank you for the monologue. Thank you for the time. Now let's see what we got. So we're going to get into what's trending first, and then we'll get into the chat. But first and foremost, yesterday I did not get a chance I did not get a chance to address the transfer portal, and I want to address the transfer portal first thing today. So there's a name in the transfer portal. It's right here. Okay, this running back, Anthony Williams Jr., leaving Akron. Who cares about Akron, right? Everybody's like, well, who cares about Akron? Well, I do, because he was actually a running back at Michigan State 2 years ago. He was at Michigan State. He rushed for a good amount of yards at Michigan State, a couple hundred. And then they got Mel Tucker. He brought in Jarek Broussard with him. He brought other running backs in, and it left Anthony Williams out. But this is a stud running back, right? Not so much. Once he goes to Akron, where he thinks he can start, he doesn't. He doesn't. Their leading rusher was Cam Wiley, and he actually hit the transfer portal. I wonder where Cam's going. I'm still waiting to see where he commits. But if you want to talk about a player, Anthony Williams Jr., he needs to be a little more realistic about his talent level. He went from Michigan State to Akron and still didn't see any additional playing time. So I'm letting you know now. He's in the transfer portal. I'm calling my shot. I think he goes to Western Illinois. And the reason I'm saying Western Illinois, number one, it's FCS level, because he needs to go down to the FCS to see some playing time. But he's from Chicago. He's from that area. So Western Illinois, Eastern Illinois, all that stuff. Or I got him going to an HBCU. I'm not even joking. So he can get real playing time. So shout out to Alcorn State or whoever. But that's where I got Anthony Williams going. Either Alcorn State, Western Illinois, FCS level school, going from Michigan State, Akron, and down, and being realistic about it. Okay, I got nothing to say about Michael Mack II here from Air Force. Kids at Air Force, if you guys didn't know, service academies, after 2 years of being at the service academy, you have to make your decision whether or not you're going to commit to your service obligation. In other words, get commissioned to become an officer, or you're going to leave the school and go elsewhere. There's a ton of service academy transfers who depart. They leave, and if they want to play football, they're really not FBS level players. They usually transfer to an FCS school or lower. So that'll probably happen with Michael Mack. And I only cover the FBS level guys. So that's where we're at there. All right. So that's the update on the transfer portal there. Let's talk about it. Penny Hardaway gets suspended 3 games today. Penny gets suspended 3 games. He's the Memphis head coach, if you didn't know. I don't know how old some of you guys are. But if you don't know Penny Hardaway, he was just as popular as Kobe Bryant. And I'm not exaggerating, he was just as popular as Kobe Bryant or any of the star guards you know. He was as popular as Dame Lillard for the young ones in here. Penny Hardaway was that guy. He had his own commercial. This was before the internet was going nuts. Okay, he had his own commercial, this little baby doll, this little baby Penny, and he was everything. And he was Shaq's sidekick. It was Penny and Shaq going to NBA championships. Penny's the man. And to see Penny coaching, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. Any questions down in TikTok, you need to bring it over to YouTube. I will answer no questions in TikTok. You need to go to YouTube. Click the link, join the live stream, and put the questions in YouTube. I don't answer questions down here. Thank you, Hibiscus, for taking care of it. Sorry about that, guys. But, yeah, so Penny gets suspended for 3 games. Now, was it a terrible infraction? Not necessarily. What they say is a, quote-unquote, high-profile player, he got a visit. He got a visit from an assistant coach at Memphis, and then Penny showed up, I think 2 weeks later. Both the visits were at the player's house, and you cannot go to a player's home until their junior year. And this was a player that wasn't in his junior year. I think he was like a freshman in high school. And so Penny went to the house. Assistant coach goes to the house. It's a violation. They actually didn't self-report when the assistant went. I don't know when they self-reported, but the point is this. Penny turned around and said, hey, man, I didn't know this rule. Penny said, I didn't know this rule. I didn't know I couldn't visit a player's home on a recruiting visit until they're a certain age or whatever. I didn't know. Dude, do you want me to believe that? You were the head coach at a Division I school, and you don't know the rules? There's only so many of these jobs in the world, and you didn't know the rules? There's an entire office, a compliance office, that should know these rules. None of your assistants know the rules? I don't believe the plausible deniability. I don't believe that he didn't know the rules. You know what's the scariest thing in the world? I'm going to tell you there are two scary things in this world. Two. Getting pulled over by a police officer who doesn't know all the laws. That's a scary thought. You got pulled over by a police officer and he doesn't know what law you broke. He doesn't know why he's pulling you over. He's not sure if it's a law or not. That's a pretty scary premise. That's some real shit right there. Like, what? And the second scariest thing in the world is being in the Army and your leaders don't know Army regulations, essentially the laws. I tell this to my soldiers all the time. I'm a first sergeant. I'm a master sergeant in the Army, been in the Army over 20 years, been a master sergeant for the last 5 years, was a first sergeant for 3 years. I'm in charge of platoon sergeants and soldiers, right? I outrank every drill sergeant in the world. And when I go to work, I stand in front of this formation, hundreds of soldiers, and I lecture the NCOs. Why don't you know the regulations? You remind me of a police officer who doesn't know all the laws. You cannot lead if you don't know the regulations. You got to know your parameters. You got to know your left and right limits. You got to know what you can legally do and what you legally can't do. You need to read the fine print. You can't mess with me, bruh. But isn't that a scary premise? Could you imagine a judge or an attorney not knowing the law? I think it happens. So when I come across a college coach, a head coach, a high-profile coach who doesn't know the rules, I call BS. Or lose your job. BS or lose your job. Either way, I can't have it. Ineptitude, I can't have it. So shout out to Penny. I hope he learned. And I hope every coach, every aspiring coach, learn from his mistakes, because the best way to learn a lesson is from somebody else's mistakes. You don't need to make it. Trust me, guys. I don't have to eat crap to know it tastes terrible. You ever been with a buddy? He's like, oh, this tastes bad. Taste it. What? I don't need to taste it, bro. I see the look on your face. Trust. I don't need to be running downhill. I saw you fall, tumble, and eat your face in the damn dirt. I don't need to do that. I'm walking. Don't need it. I saw somebody run in the rain once. They slipped and fell. I'm like, I'll never run in the rain. Nah, I'm walking. These damn raindrops ain't killing me. I ain't melting. I'm just letting you know. All right, next one. Silva. We got Silva teaming up with Paul, Jake Paul. Let me go ahead. I apologize. Silva and Jake Paul teaming up together to create a UFC union. If you've ever watched UFC fights with me, I've talked about this before. Okay? I don't know if this is going to be a successful venture because Dana White will do anything in his power to crush this. But let me explain how this works. I want you to imagine the NFL before 1973. I want you to imagine any sports league where they just pay certain people certain amounts and other guys, they don't care about you. That's how the UFC works. The UFC does not have a union. All the fighters are not in a union together like the NFL Players Association, the Basketball Association. There's nobody advocating for their money. There's nobody making sure they get half the revenue. There's nothing. There's not a law in the world. There's not a bargaining agreement. No. The fighters have zero say. And they did this early on, and nobody said a thing because fighters couldn't fathom getting paid to punch someone. You used to fight just for the hell of it. The most you ever got paid was $500, $1,000, maybe. Go enter a tough man contest. go do a pride fight, you weren't making anything that you thought you were making. In your lifetime, you could be a fighter, do 20 fights, and you might have made $3,000. They weren't paying you a thing. So when you got to the UFC and you heard guys were making $5,000, $10,000 a fight, it was riveting stuff. It was amazing. And here's a fun fact for you. When they started paying the fighters, they stopped announcing the purse and the gate because the amount of money they were making at the stadium or the arena was insane. The pricing for fights is nuts. And then pay-per-views started coming. And none of the fighters were getting a cut of the pay-per-views. This is why the Fertitta brothers owned the UFC for so long. They weren't trying to give anybody any money. The Fertitta brothers were making a killing. And the only other person making just as much money was Dana White. Millions upon millions. And then slowly but surely, fighters started saying, hey, man, we want a bigger purse. And then newspapers started writing articles about it. Hey, man, I think these fighters are, like there was one time, the UFC made $40 million off the pay-per-view and the gate, but the total purse paid out to the fighters was like $500,000 for all the fights. Who got the other $45 million? Who got the other $40 million? I'm sorry. And this is when they started saying, we need to pay fighters more. You guys don't understand. This would be like NFL football players making $80,000 a year. Not even getting a cut of the revenue. The way the NFL's determined their revenue and their league minimums and their salary caps is all based off of total revenue by the league. The NFL looks at how much money did they make in its totality. They look at total revenue and they cut it 52-48. The owners get 52%, the players get 48% of the profits. It's transparent. It's published. You can't hide it. This is why they can calculate the salary cap for the next couple of years, because they look at the total revenue. And when they do that, yes, they give 48% to the players. They take that 48%, whatever that number is, and they cut that into 32. And that's every single team gets an equal amount on the 32. The owners are splitting the other 52. Now that 2% is literally like $5 million. Something like that every year. It's a $5 million difference. The NBA is straight up 50-50. UFC, we don't know what it is. UFC does not know what it is. They don't publish it. They don't tell you how much they've earned. They don't tell you how much the fighters have earned. And only recently have people been started saying, hey, wait, hold on. This is why Dana White, you know what Dana White did to shut everybody up? He started giving out $50,000 bonuses for knockout of the night. So now you can do a fight and only get paid $20,000. They're still only paying $20,000 for the prelims. Some of the prelims are $12.24. And when you hear two numbers, the winner gets the double and the loser gets the half of the amount. So when you hear $12.24, that means the winner got 24, the loser gets 12. And you might think $24,000 is a lot for a fight, but it's not. After taxes, the fact that you only fight once every 4 months, come on now, we're looking at $6,000. $6,000 a month. After taxes, you're looking at $4,000 a month. These guys are making nothing in the prelims. And no one's fighting for their wages to increase. No one. Because there's millionaire fighters. Because the top 13 fighters in the UFC are millionaires. They don't care. And those guys aren't going to give out their wages. They're not going to cut into their profits for some dude they don't know from Uzbekistan. The other glaring issue is the fighters are from all over the world. And there's not a guy in the world who gives a they don't care about you if you're from wherever you're from. And this is why they joined the gyms. And this is why it says where they're fighting out of. Coconut Creek, Florida. They're fighting out of gyms and they're teaming up together. It's almost like they're on a team. Because now you can go to the gym and you can pull your resources. But every single UFC fighter has to pay 10% of their purse to their corner, their coach. That's the going rate. 10% of your purse goes to your corner. Even when you win fight of the night, that $50,000, you give them $5,000 each. It's peanuts, though. I can remember the first time Nate Diaz won a main event, and Nick Diaz, his older brother. Nick Diaz won a main event, got $250,000. He couldn't believe the payout because before that, his highest paid fight was $80,000. So he got $250,000 in a fight. Immediately retired. He thought he made it. He didn't understand that this ain't going to last forever and that the wages would keep going up. He literally, $250,000 and he retired the next fight. So these fighters are not getting paid. And once they started advocating for more pay, once they started negotiating and saying we need more pay, the Fertitta brothers got the hell out. The owners, they said, oh my God, they're going to cut into our profit margins? We're not going to make $50 million every single pay-per-view? We might potentially only make $20 million? We're out of here. Boom. And they sold to that company in China. Dana White stays on. Dana White hates anybody trying to form a union because they're going to cut into his profits. So here we go. What do? You go to the money man. You go to Jake Paul outside of the UFC, and Jake Paul all day long says, hey, you need to pay your fighters more. I make more out here by myself. You don't pay your fighters enough. Shout out to Francis Ngannou. He said, you don't pay me enough, and he left. And he went and got himself a crazy deal with PFL. And here's Anderson Silva, worked his whole life in the UFC, considered, one of the top 3 greatest fighters of all time. And what did Anderson Silva say? Hey, I got you, man. Excuse me for a second. I just got a pop-up that should never happen. I don't know how to make that go away. Sorry about that. We'll figure that out some other day. There we go. But Anderson Silva says, hey, can we start a union and stop this? And now Dana White's going to be baffled yet again. They said it right here. But it's because Dana White, the last time they did this, it was Donald Cerrone. Donald Cerrone's fought the most fights in UFC history, blah, blah, blah. And Dana White said, how dare you? How dare you bite the hand that feeds you? Because Donald Cerrone was on a boat acting crazy and did some crazy stuff on a boat and was going to go to jail. He was in jail. And Dana White put out $100,000 of his own money to bail him out and got him the best attorney he can find, and Donald Cerrone avoided jail. So Dana White goes, come on, what are you doing? I did this for you, and the way you repay me is you go out and start a union against me. Dude, it's not about you, Dana White. It's about the fighters. And he ain't got no leverage over Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva put in a solid 20 years, solid 10 years as a champ, amazing Hall of Famer. You can't say nothing negative about the guy. He's going to go get with Jake Paul. They're going to try to do this thing. Hopefully they get a union started and we can stop playing the BS. All right, before I get to the rest, I'll get into the chat here. We'll get into the chat. Sorry for the long tangent. I know you guys want me answering your questions, but once I get into the questions, it never stops. You know what? We're going to leave the questions there for a little bit, and I'll get to them in a few. I'm going to keep going. So let's talk about it. Number 1 quarterback in the country, Dylan Raiola. Dylan Raiola transferring to Buford High School. Listen, guys, when I moved to Georgia and the first time I saw Buford play football, I couldn't believe it. They had 2 running backs, Gabe Irvin Jr., he's at Nebraska now, and the other kid, he just transferred out of Colorado, and he's going to Liberty. What's his name? Not Gabe Irvin Jr. Just forgot his name. Watched them play, and they were amazing. I watched all of Buford, and I thought this is one of the best teams in the country for sure. I really like them, and they are. And now they get a 5-star quarterback in Dylan Raiola. I have a whole video I need to make on how you do this, on how it's allowed. But the reality is he committed to Georgia. His family is moving him to Georgia. Buford's right down the street from Athens. And now you're going to get the star quarterback recruiting for you in the state. Get you all the best players he can to come to the school. He's going to be at every home game. And I'm not making this up. He's going to be at every home game on the field, just being that figure. Everybody's going to want to go play with this kid. I got news for you. I had a guy in the comments say something pretty funny to me. He said, Rico, Dylan Raiola is not him. He doesn't even have an NFL name. He's not going to make it. You need to have an NFL name. And Raiola is not an NFL name. I said, his dad was in the NFL. He said, yeah, it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out. So, more power to him. He's coming over, getting ready to go play college ball right there at Georgia. Buford's a hell of a team. Obviously, we'll be watching them, but don't get mad. The rich get richer. It happens. All right. I made a video about it. I talked about it. This JUCO quarterback, Gavin Cold. Everybody was asking me about him yesterday. I got a bunch of messages about him today. Gavin Cold, Rico, you need to let me know what he is. The Norseman, he's got that jersey on right there. The Norseman, that's Neo, Northeastern Oklahoma A&M. They got this quarterback. He's 6'6", 220, 230. Guys, I went back to his high school tape. He's from North Carolina. I watched him throw the ball 60 yards in the air. He's got a gun. He's got a cannon of an arm. And then I went to his JUCO box scores. Not his tape, his box scores. I don't have any of his tape. But I went to those box scores, and they left a lot to be desired. Was never the starting quarterback anywhere he's been for the last 2 years now. I saw a game at Neo. He went 1 for 11 with 2 interceptions. This guy will never see the field at Colorado. In high school, he played defensive end on some plays in his high school tape. I'm serious, defensive end. He's huge, but he will never play at Colorado. This is not a good quarterback. Weissman, who's the other kids on the roster? There's Weissman, there's another kid. I don't remember. I know what the kid's name is. You guys will tell me. Somebody put it in the chat and just tell me who the kid is, and it'll come to me. But it doesn't matter. The point is Ryan. First name Ryan. You guys know the deal. Ryan Staub. Much better than this guy. This guy, Gavin Cludd, he's got to be a walk-on. The tape was bad, and the stats, the box scores. And I'm not a box score scout. Trying to find JUCO tape is like trying to find a girl on Tinder, right? It's tough. So there we go. Kentucky getting back, and this is going to be pretty cool, right? They're getting back their star guard, Antonio Reeves. Look, Antonio Reeves showed up. This is a senior guy. He's a super senior. He was a senior this last year. So he showed up from Illinois State. He's a transfer. And when he transferred from Illinois State to Kentucky, it took him a while to get in the starting lineup. But if there's anything you need to know, this man makes buckets, bro. This man is buckets waiting to happen. And Kentucky lost 8 players in the transfer portal or to the draft right after the season. And here goes a guy who tests the draft waters. It didn't look good. I think he makes more money in NIL. Obviously, it's impossible to make it in the NBA. NBA does not draft people. NBA's got 2 rounds, and the second round's not even guaranteed. Your only guaranteed contracts are in the first round. Second round, they just draft guys and just let them go. They draft guys, send them to G Leagues, D Leagues, overseas. They don't care. Playground, they don't give a shit where they go. These teams don't even want their draft picks sometimes. They'd rather trade them for some type of, currency in future drafts. They don't know. Then once they see the draft, they go, oh, none of these guys can make our team. That's how they do it. They go and evaluate the college ranks, and they go, there's not a guy coming out that can make our team. That's why the 13 lottery picks are so important. Becoming a lottery pick is so important because these teams, when they look at guys in the first and second round, they're like, dude, we're picking 28th? There's not a guy at 28 that can make our team. We're out of here. And that's the unfortunate reality. Now, there are teams willing to pay. They're willing to pay a nice NIL, a nice collective, and I'm sure he's getting paid to come back to school. This is a guy who averaged 14 points a game, and he didn't even start them all. He scored the most points in their loss in the tournament. This man right here, in their loss in the tournament, their last game, he put up 22 points. I'm sorry, I blocked myself from his – I shouldn't do that. There you go. I'm still new to all this software crap. We're here. So shout out to Kentucky. Congrats, you got a new player. You got your same player back. They tell me USC revealed their new uniforms, and somebody talked about this. The only thing I see here in their new uniforms is they put the Big Ten on it, the little Big Ten sticker. That's it, bro. It's the same uniform. There's nothing new about this uniform. Nothing. I don't get it. Somebody explain that one to me. Shout out to Alec Ogletree. He retired. Hey, Alec Ogletree. This is a Georgia linebacker. First round pick. Didn't play last year. His last time he played was in 2021. But he played for the Bears, and he did well. I didn't understand why he never got signed last year, and he never played. Because his last season, he had like 60-something tackles. It wasn't like he was a complete bum. But if you ask me, yeah, team captain at the Rams. And it was pretty cool. If you guys go look up his Instagram post, he's in an old school Rams uniform for his retirement. He's in the old uniform, not this fancy new Rams uniform. He's wearing a throwback. But if you ask me, 30th overall pick, played 9 years, 10 years, whatever it is, I didn't think he was very good. They say he had an all-pro season. I remember it well. But he never made a Pro Bowl. How are you a linebacker in the league for 10 years and you never made a Pro Bowl? Let me know. How did you not make the Pro Bowl? You're a first rounder and you didn't make – dude, who made the Pro Bowl this last year? Just some terrible people make the Pro Bowl. Just letting you know. You got to go out and do some more than that. But, hey, he played a long time. Shout out to him. He made more than $40 million in his career. I'm not pocket watching. I'm pocket watching when I talk about how much money somebody lost, but I'm not pocket watching when I say how much they made or I congratulate them on a new contract. Figure that one out for me. I'll never get it. And we're all caught up now. Now it's just your guys' questions. Okay. Wish me luck because this is about to be on. Now, I do have the potential to have to look things up. So I might want to keep my browser open just to see what you guys say. Let's go. Let's get to the chat. Thanks for being patient, guys. Here we go. It's been 35 minutes. Oh, my goodness. Always got to see what Rico has to say. Thank you, Seth. It's a daily thing here. Do you think YouTube Shorts will eventually take over TikTok? Ryan Brunner. Ryan Brunner. Brunner? Do you think YouTube Shorts will eventually take over TikTok? No. I think it's a reaction to TikTok. Remember, Vines were 6 seconds because people's attention span needed to be 6 seconds. Then they realized that was too short and they're gone, right? Shorts can be up to a minute, but you still can't tell a complete story in a minute. TikTok went to 3 minutes. They do have a 5-minute format. They still have the 10-minute format. You just can't use their software to do it. You have to actually just upload a video that's over 5 minutes. And I think that's the value in TikTok is, and there's a number of people that use TikTok that YouTube, it's just not dual-hatted. There's people on one or not the other and vice versa. I think they have their purpose. I appreciate TikTok. I just want to be real. I don't know if I had 66,000 followers on YouTube. I don't know what kind of money that would pay me, but TikTok pays me a hell of a lot more money than YouTube. YouTube pays me for my live streams. TikTok doesn't pay me for my live streams. So that's why I'm always live streaming on YouTube and tell everybody move over to YouTube because I get paid over here on TikTok. You got to get tips to get paid, right, on your live streams. Now, my videos get me much more money over there, but that's a whole other story. I'm just peeling the curtain back a little bit for you guys, not making it personal about me, just letting you know as a content creator, there's advantages to both. These shorts don't pay me nearly as much as TikToks do. That's the reality. So there you go. If they did, I'd make more. Welcome in. Only need to ask questions once. How about those Lions lids? All right, guys, I talked about the Lions lids. I made a video on it. It's on the thumbnail. Let me pull it up for you guys, and you guys talk to me. Lions new helmets. Let's go straight to images. And, well, I could just leave it like that. Maybe it's not big enough. Let's go to images. These new Lions lids, everybody's telling me they're throwbacks from the 70s. They're throwbacks. Well, let me tell you the worst part of the Lions' history is any throwback. The Lions have been atrocious for years. This lion is the worst. It looks terrible. I'm telling you, it looks like the cowardly lion, the guy with no courage from The Wizard of Oz. It looks like something a 5-year-old drew. I love some of these other helmets up here. I love these first 3. I really like the all black for sure. The white with the black lion, legit. But my goodness, is this an awful looking helmet? And you guys can be advocates for it all you want. It's American muscle, Rico. It's a throwback. Nah. IMO Steve, they should have been black. There you go. The black helmet like this. This is the one I like a lot. Kamari Parker, that would definitely work. Yes, it would. Any team should go all black. If they didn't learn anything, have they not learned from the college teams? All these college teams who went all black on their uniforms, Tennessee, Oklahoma State, anybody with an all black uniform, it looked great. Shout out to Stanford and Ohio State who did it. Like, just everybody went and did it. Looked solid. Is Javon Bullard the best safety in college football? Paul Bowling asked. Okay, so if you guys don't know who Javon Bullard is a safety who ended up starting by the end of the year at Georgia. Remember, they have what's his name? The kid, the freshman, started all their games. Malachi Starks. So Malachi, by the way, when he played at Jefferson, great running back. But they had him starting at free safety, and then you got Bullard starting at like some star position or something. And I remember thinking, oh, wow, Bullard's breakout performance put Marcus Washington in the transfer portal. Okay, if you guys don't know, Marcus Washington, kid from Grovetown, Georgia, 4-star kid, was on the team as a freshman, and now he just transferred to Louisville. So Marcus Washington immediately got put on notice because Bullard's so good. Now, Bullard was the defensive MVP in the national title game. Did he have 2 interceptions or 1? I don't remember. But Bullard played lights out in the national title game. He played great all season. I think he was 5th on the team in tackles. A lot of this I'm going off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. What I'll tell you is this. He's a great safety. But how in the world can I say he's the best safety in college football? That's what you wrote, best safety in college football. For me, there are 2 guys at Miami right now. Cameron Kitchens, hands down. Go look at Cameron Kitchens on tape. Go look at Cameron Kitchens' stats. Go do everything you want to do with Cameron Kitchens. He wears number 24, I believe, for Miami. Cameron Kitchens is him. Okay, so when you say best safety in college football, Cameron Kitchens is him. The other guy is number 0 for Miami. Miami has 2 safeties. James Williams. These are studs, man. These are stud safeties at Miami. And then if I'm going to go there, the USC safety, Kalen Bullock, might be the best one. He just doesn't have amazing speed. When I watch the film, he's like a 4.5 guy. But he doesn't have blazing speed. Like Cameron Kitchens. Cameron Kitchens is a house call. Like if he picks it off, it's going to the house. Picks it off, he's going to the house. I think he had 200 yards returning last year on 6 picks. Like Cameron Kitchens, if I can explain this, had 6 interceptions last year. There are guys getting drafted with 2 interceptions their entire college career. And everybody's talking about them. They're getting 2. This guy had 6 last year. Cameron Kitchens, to me, sticks out on tape. I cannot say Bullard's better than Cameron Kitchens. I can't. I'd say Bullard's probably in the top 10 for sure. For sure. But not the best safety in the country. You might be a Georgia fan. If you're asking about Javon Bullard, you're a Georgia fan, so you might be a homer. Road to 1 million views. Israel Ochoa, it don't make sense, bruh. I got 60,000 followers, but my videos are getting 500,000 views, 300,000 views, 400,000 views in a day. Man, they got to fix that algorithm, or these people need to stop watching my videos and not following me. That's crazy. The people who watch my stuff and don't follow me, the people who write me comments every day and don't follow me, and they're all over the place. Let me tell you, the hate is real. But they're on the wrong end of history because we're going to be somebody, and they're not. Nope. They'll just keep hating from the bench. Hey, you're going to be hating from the bench, bro. You'll be hating from the stands. I'm on the field. Just wait. We're going to be somebody. And you guys are all here for day one. Some of you. So in your opinion, who is the next FCS star player to jump to FBS at the end of the season? Oh, my goodness. Israel Ochoa. That's a great question. There's some great players at the FCS level right now that didn't hit the transfer portal. They stayed loyal to their school, and they didn't move up. There's a running back. Oh, his name escapes me. Hold on. It shouldn't. 1 second. I'll get his name right now. I know. Little guy. Not McGee. Not these guys. Nope. Give me a second. I'll pull it up. Who was it? Not Jacob Sailors. I was looking at tape just yesterday. What was his name? Maybe he's Division 2. Maybe it's Division 2. Little running back. No, not Gore. Gore's an FCS. He's a group of 5. I already did my top 10 for group of 5. I'll tell you guys who it is. When I see his name, I'll know it. Right, there it is. Jada Byers. Jada Byers, Virginia Union. Jada Byers, Virginia Union is the truth. Now, he's Division 2. So if you look at Division 2 running backs, if you look at their leading rushers right here, right? You see Mario Anderson Jr. right here. Mario Anderson Jr. 6th on the list from Newberry, just transferred to South Carolina. That's a 1,500-yard rusher, if you guys didn't know. 1,500-yard rusher, okay? I'm trying not to block the rushing yards over here. But I went and looked at all these guys' tape because I was curious. And Jada Byers, whoo, boy. But he's only a sophomore. He's little. Jada Byers bad. Now, but your specific question was who's the best FCS player that's going to break out this year and then go to the FBS? And that's a really hard prediction, but I got a guy. The Idaho quarterback, Gervonny McCoy. Go look at the tape. Gervonny McCoy. He's from, I think he's from California. 6'2". Great. Gervonny McCoy, Idaho. Great quarterback. I think he ends up at the FBS level soon. I'm not joking. So go look up Gervonny McCoy. I think when you watch the tape, he's number 4. Okay? Idaho. I hope somebody takes the time to go look up Gervonny McCoy since I mentioned him. Probably the best guy that's not at the next level. Now, there's other guys, but that one, as soon as you ask me the question, that guy comes to mind. Jonas456 asks, Rico, did you play football? So I get asked about my resume every day, sometimes for credibility, sometimes the naysayers and the disbeliefs. What's really cool is I actually have people who I've played with show up on the channel, or some of my former players that I used to coach, because I used to be a coach as well. So yes, I did play football, but after high school, I'm not some Al Bundy dude. After high school, I went to go play at the local junior college, the JUCO, and I decided to join the Army after spring ball. I did spring ball the first year, and I thought, man, this is going to be tough for me. And what I thought was going to be tough was school. Now, I have a college degree today, had a 3.96 GPA, but at that time, I wasn't mature enough to do school. All I cared about was football. All I cared about was sports, and my GPA might have been like a 2.4. And when I had to start taking college classes, I was like, oh, my God, there's homework every night? I got to write this paper? I just want to go to practice. I just want to lift weights. I just want to run routes. I was a wide receiver. And in high school, though, I was a corner, free safety. I didn't really play wide receiver after my sophomore year. But, yeah, I've always been a skilled player, skilled athlete. Once I joined the Army, I changed my profession, if you will, and I started doing MMA. So I became an MMA fighter, and that's why I know so much about the UFC and fighting. And till this day, I'm a coach for both. I can still coach football. I can still coach MMA, but I'm also a sports journalist. I was also a sports writer before I joined the Army. So, yeah, I have a long history of sports, journalism, and athleticism. I work out every day, and I get paid to work out, right? For the last 20 years, the Army paid me to work out. So if you ask me, I'm a professional athlete. Just keeping it real. Thanks for the question. Evan Kramer, what's up, Rico? Hey, guys, shout out to Evan Kramer. This is my first time seeing him on YouTube. Evan Kramer is a very active and loyal follower on TikTok. I know his emblem. I know his little icon. Whenever he writes a comment or likes a video or something, it's recognizable to me. So I know Evan. Shout out to you, brother. Thanks for being here. Hola. Okay, hello, what's up? Lewis Hinton, what up, brother? Will an FCS football program ever give a Hispanic coach a chance to lead their program? Israel Ochoa, don't quote me, but Danny Gonzalez is the head coach at New Mexico right now. Danny Gonzalez is the head coach at New Mexico right now, New Mexico Lobos in Albuquerque. And I want to say, the reason I'm saying don't quote me is because I'm not sure if he's Mexican. Or I think he's Hispanic, but I'm not sure what his cultural background is. I know he has a wife named Sandra. He's got 4 kids, and one of their names is like Abby, Chloe, Cole. So they got some mighty, mighty white names. And he looks very American. He looks like me, right? We got the same complexion. But Danny Gonzalez is as close as we're getting. He spells Gonzalez a little different. But, yeah, I'd imagine there's definitely position coaches out there that are Hispanic. But as far as head coaches go, he comes to mind. I don't know all the FCS programs' head coaches. I could go do research on it. But I do know all the FBS coaches, 133 coaches. I know every single one of them. And he's the only one that comes to mind. So, yeah, I think it's already been given out there. Great question. Israel Cho is out here with the fire, bro. He's asking the right questions. Shout out to him. Good for Johnson for finding a program that will give him a chance to compete right away as well as start right away. Okay, so he's talking about Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson leaving Louisville in the transfer portal. All these websites said he was going to Ole Miss. And if I go to, if I go to 24/7 Sports right now and I hit the transfer portal, let me show you guys. Look at this. I don't even need to worry about what this thing's saying. If I go to school, I click on this school link and I go to ACC. Let's go to Louisville. And we got to go look at who departed. Look at this. They still have it 100% to Ole Miss. Caleb Johnson, 100% to Ole Miss. It's right here. You can't hide it. They love being loud and wrong. Caleb Johnson is not going to Ole Miss. I told everybody, these crystal ball predictions, they don't know what they're doing. He's not going there. And then they call him a dual threat quarterback. He is not a dual threat quarterback. He's a quarterback that can extend the pocket with his legs, but he's not dual threat like you think. He's not out here running. Just because he's black and looks athletic, he's not a dual threat quarterback. But my goodness, can he play some football? This is a guy who won state with a damn torn meniscus. He tore his meniscus in the semifinals and still played a championship game and won it. So he won state in Alabama, went to Louisville for 1 year, hit the transfer portal. Jeff Brom said, hey, I got my own quarterbacks. I'm bringing Jack Plummer. I'm bringing Brady Allen. I'm bringing Harrison Bailey. I'm bringing a kid from California, right? Clark Pearson from St. John Bosco. He said, so I ain't got a spot for you, Caleb. All right, I'm going to jump in the transfer portal. Caleb jumps in the transfer portal. Western Kentucky immediately calls. South Alabama immediately calls because he's from Alabama. Let's get him back home. But Ole Miss then calls. And the family falls in love with Ole Miss. And I think that was a mistake. I think he should have just went to Western Kentucky or South Alabama. I really do. But you live and you learn. They feel like he's a Power 5 quarterback. He's an FBS Power 5 quarterback. So instead of going that route, once Ole Miss pulls the scholarship and then goes and gives an offer to Austin Simmons and lets the kid skip his last 2 years of high school, now you really don't have your scholarship anymore. Now he's got to commit. So he commits to a JUCO today, going to Blinn College. Cam Newton's college. Cam Newton's old college. They have great football history. This is in Texas. They play against Kilgore. They play against Neo, who I was talking about earlier. It's all the same conference, okay? Good conference, good football. Hopefully he gets back to the Power 5 level after one season. So shout out to him for going out and finding a school that will give him a chance to play. Thoughts on Dylan moving to Georgia to finish out his high school career? Will Georgia have a chance to get on his radar, or is it Nebraska's race to lose? Israel Choa, he's already committed to Georgia, 100%. He already announced that last week, so he's committed to Georgia. Nebraska has no chance to get him. He's committed to Georgia, and he's moving to the state of Georgia. Listen to me, guys. I don't think it's far-fetched to imagine part of his collective NIL deal is that Georgia pays for his family to move, his house. That payment is to pay for his whole family to move to the region, to the area. So there you go. I remember you mentioned you used to coach. Where did you coach and what position did you coach? So I didn't coach a position. I coached offense, defense. I was an offensive defensive coordinator, and I coached in Southern California. Some of my players will come in here and let you know. Best football show not on network TV. Keep up the great work, Semper Fi. Thank you, Damon. I appreciate you. One day, somebody's going to know about us. That's all I can say. One day, somebody's going to know about us. What's your thoughts on UNC Charlotte this season? They just got Dominic Schaffner out of the portal. Okay. Well, I'm going to have to go look it up. I owe you guys a Charlotte video. I've already done one before. I can do another one and talk about Biff Poggi. I love what Charlotte's doing. I love their transfer portal class. I have it ranked. I think I had it ranked in the winter at number 1 or number 2. It was right ahead of Colorado or right behind it. If you check my winter transfer portal rankings, you'll see it. It's on the playlist. Go to YouTube or go to TikTok on the top bar. Boom. All you have to do is hit it, and you'll see it. And it'll be golden for you. So I love everything about Charlotte and what they're doing. Hopefully they can bring back some magic from their high school teams, right? From this St. Francis Academy high school team stuff. Any big winners from the transfer portal for FCS programs? Yeah, a few, Israel Ochoa, a few. The big winners that come out to me from the FCS level, the first one that comes to mind is Florida A&M. Florida A&M got some players from the transfer portal. They really did. Another school that's doing great is Cal Poly, just because they got a 5-star quarterback. North Carolina A&T, yes, they lost by Shaw Tutton, but they got one really good running back from Virginia Tech, and they lost some of their linebackers. So it's just like a plus-minus. UIW lost everybody. Incarnate Word lost everybody at the FCS level. They lost their entire offensive line. G.J. Kinney just took everything. Guess what, though? Zach Calzada showed up. They got some other players coming in. So I like UIW. But Florida A&M looks like they just improved the most. And I think they might win the SWAC next year. I think they might win the SWAC. Come back to this video because that's where it's at. I'm going to write it down in my notes. Because, guys, I go through my notes. SWAC prediction. FAMU. And anytime I want to go back and do an I Am Right video, I have to go look at what date I said something, go find it on the video, record myself. It's tough, but there we go. Anytime you guys see me typing, I'm taking notes on what I said so I can come back and find my prediction. Wanted to give a shout out to my fiance, Samira Owens. She's watching, taking time to watch Rico Knows with me. Ruben Rust, shout out to your fiance, Samira Owens. She sounds like a beautiful woman. Don't be bringing her in the chat, though. You might lose her. We're letting you know right now. Don't bring your main girl to the club. No, but congratulations. Get married, bruh. Get married. Give her half your stuff. It'll work out. Where should Spencer Sanders go eventually if he enters the portal? He should go to rehab. He needs to get his shoulder rehabbed. He needs to get his shoulder rehab first. I can't do anything else. Exactly. That's a great prediction. What prediction did I predict? What prediction did I predict? You just got to tell me what I said. What prediction was it? Not going to lie, I could see that. I don't know what I said. Texas Tech about to get a 5-star? It's news to me. Micah Hudson. Okay, they're recruiting Micah Hudson. All right. Well, let me know when he enrolls. Let me know when he enrolls. Do you think LeBron will buy an NBA team? Arrow, I don't know. It's a great investment. It's hard to get in. You got to have a ton of money. And not all the teams are up for sale. It's really hard to buy one. I see neighborhoods I want to live in all the time, but none of the houses are for sale. You know what I'm saying? So unless you're willing to go in there and overpay an insane amount, just knock on the door and be like, yo, I want this house. How much is it? Unless you're willing to do that, you're not getting a team. Where do you rank Shedeur Sanders among Pac-12 quarterbacks this upcoming fall? Daddy Bryant. I've done this before. I'll do it again. Caleb Williams. Bo Nix. Michael Penix Jr. Cam Rising. Right around there. 5 to 7. So DJ Ungalele, Cam Ward, DeLara, Drew Pine, Dante Moore, Sam Jackson, Lamson if he's going to start at Stanford. I mean, I could do the whole conference. But about 5 to 7 for Shedeur. 5 to 7. Second time Penny been in trouble in a short coaching career. This is correct. Hey, you got to try to win, and they're doing some crazy stuff. Ain't it something else? Calipari, anybody? You got to go ham. Micah Hudson to Texas Tech. Did this happen? You guys are telling me? I got to write this down? I got to make a video on this? Give me a second here. I'm a huge fan of Texas Tech this upcoming season. Thoughts on Cole Welliver, the 2024 UConn quarterback commit? I don't really worry about commits too much from other years like that, 2024, 2025, just because they change their mind. Their head coach can get fired. Their position coach can get fired. They flip and move. So if I waste zero time worrying about it, I'm doing better. I'm learning about other things. So no thoughts on that. Yo, Rico, what up? Your back is still hurting? I left you on a cliffhanger. My bad. I was playing some ball with the St. Pius players of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Oh, you hurt your back. You were playing some ball. Johannes, Arrow, he wants to own a team in Vegas. Okay. He's made several. Hold up now. He's made several comments about it before. Shout out to LG7 for being here. What up, E-Money? Is that why all these UFC fighters are trying to get paid in boxing? Yes, Cameron Hayes. It's really about trying to maximize your profits and get paid after your fighting career is over. You can't fight in the UFC anymore, so you got to fight somewhere. You want to get a big paycheck before you go home. Yo, Rico, why did Blinn Junior College get rid of that elite track program? Remember them always beating those D1s, 4x4s? That was crazy fast. So here's the thing, Victor. I don't remember that. But I watch the Texas Relays, and I watch a lot of track invitationals. There's some really fast JUCO teams out there. There's some really fast JUCO programs. There's some people with, and I'm not gonna say ghetto speed, but it's like, yo, that guy had, the only issue is he had grade problems or something. But they're just amazingly fast. I love everything about them. Yeah, I don't know. Emmett Mosley is a great pickup for Stanford. Him and Elijah Brown will have a bright future. Okay, I got to look into that. Thank you for the heads up. Nate Diaz is making no less than $10 million to fight Jake Paul. That's a hell of a payday for 30 minutes if he doesn't get TKO'd. He's going to get TKO'd. He's going to get put down. Nate Diaz is not a boxer, but $10 million is a lot of money. Especially, like, if you guys didn't know, Michael Chandler is getting a huge payday to fight Conor McGregor, somewhere around $2 million. It might go up. But that's an epic payday in the UFC. How much you think they're making off that fight, though? How much you think they're making off the fight? They've been giving Michael Chandler points on the pay-per-view, and he's been getting paid more than everybody else because they know, they saw the analytics. When Michael Chandler's on a card, boom. Pay-per-view sales go up. Ratings are way high when Michael Chandler's fighting. Doesn't matter if he wins or loses. The man goes out there like a warrior and starts swinging. So his fight against Gaethje, Poirier, Oliveira, Tony Ferguson, all those fights were off the charts for rating. The top 4 fights in the last 2-3 years. They said, oh my goodness, we need to pay this man. One time he was like on the prelim. He was in the 3rd fight on the main card. He wasn't even the co-main event or the main event, and he got the most money on the whole card. Seriously, when he kicked Tony Ferguson in the face, you guys seen that kick, that face? Boom. Anyways, Rico, you got a shout out from the Podfather, Joe Budden, today. Keep up the potent content. FYI, the episode is not on the platforms yet. It should drop tomorrow. So Al Green, I already listened to it. I found it. It's not on platforms to watch, so I don't know if they actually show me talking, but I heard it. And it plays my video in its entirety. And then everybody on the cast just gets real quiet and doesn't know what to say. Because they're like, man, if that happened. First they're saying what a great deal it is for Jordan. And then they're like, damn, did he get got? I don't know. But they don't. And then they move on to another topic. Yeah, I heard it. Shout out to everybody's giving me a head. Hey, Rico, you made it, man. Joe Budden. And guess what? 2 days earlier, everybody's like, yo, Rico, you're on World Star. You're on World Star. Man, I've been great before any of this stuff started popping off. I ain't worried about them. I got a different mindset. I've been great since my first video dropped. That's real. I'm telling you guys love my content. I love it more than you love it. I watch my videos more than you watch them. I promise you. I watch a video I make more than you watch it. I got an unhealthy amount of self-confidence. That's how you become great. Ask Kanye. I would switch positions. Pause. Because as long as Sanders is there, that guy will not see or sniff the field. Spencer Sanders is leaving. He's not playing. He's got a hurt shoulder, and that's why they're bringing in more guys. They keep bringing in more quarterbacks, offering quarterbacks in the transfer portal. They offered a ton of guys because they know they got a quarterback on the roster that's not doing it. What should the backup quarterback at Buford do now since Raiola has moved? So Torres, the previous starting quarterback, I already got word, he's going to transfer to Collins Hill. And that's Travis Hunter's old high school. Collins Hill is where Sam Horn played. They're not a perennial power, but they're definitely respected. They won the state title 2 years ago with Sam Horn and Travis Hunter. So that's where they say he's going to transfer. Good school. What's stopping Texas from making the college football playoff? 132 other teams trying to beat them. What's really stopping them is last year, 2 of your best players just played terrible in the games that mattered the most. So Bijan Robinson is a huge reason they lost 3 of their 5 games. And then Xavier Worthy was the other guy, just dropping passes. But Bijan Robinson fumbled against Texas Tech, first play in overtime. Texas Tech wins that game. Bijan Robinson against TCU, 15 yards rushing. There's no excuse for that. Just looked terrible. So, yeah, that's what's keeping them from winning college football playoffs. They're not even making it. They're not even making it. You can't make the playoffs if you're 8-5. You're 8-5. Don't ask about why they're not making the playoffs. Why the hell aren't they making the Big 12 championship game? Don't worry about the playoffs. Who's the best player in the portal right now, in your opinion? Israel Choa, it's a loaded question. Last time I looked, let's go. Last time I looked, I said it was some defensive lineman or wide receiver, but let me look. I can just go to latest football because it's going to be somebody that recently joined who's actually a starter. Like Latrell McCutcheon's a good player in the portal right now. He just left USC. Can't start at USC. They keep bringing in better corners. But he was obviously at Oklahoma before that. He's a good player. He's one of the better players in the portal right now. Let me keep looking. Terry Roberts is no longer in the portal. He's at Michigan State. They don't know that. Well, let's do this. You go to status, go uncommitted. Show you all the uncommitted guys first. It doesn't matter about stars. Stars are irrelevant. Just look for a guy with any type of production. By the way, you don't want Alvin Williams from Colorado. He got kicked off the team earlier in the season. Pierre Gores was a beast back in high school. You the man, homie. Micah Young's got a lot of praise from Rutgers, offensive lineman. Dink Jackson, 4-star safety. Best player in the portal right now. Seydou Traore. He's the best receiving tight end in the portal for sure. Traore sticks out. Miles Morrow sticks out to me. This is a kid who was a 4 or 5-star kid coming out of high school, went to Washington, could never start. He's a modern-day guy. He was supposed to be the truth. He sticks out. Tyron Smith is not in the portal, but if he is, he's the best receiver in the portal for sure. I don't think he is. I think he's at UTEP. He just left A&M after going there for a couple months. Sorry, guys. It's slim pickings. Yeah, these 4 stars like that you see like this, they're actually not that good. They really aren't. Malachi Wideman's great athlete. I don't think he has the grades. I don't think he academically qualifies. I think they're waiting for summer school to finish, and he needs to go to a JUCO. But Malachi Wideman, very, very talented player in the portal. Great question. No, it's slim pickings at this point. It isn't like there's a guy in here that everybody's missing on or anything like that. Some of the 4 stars you see just didn't work out. Youssef couldn't start at Colorado. Probably needs to go down. Went from Florida to Colorado to probably FCS. Cameron Williams, another guy. I don't know. And I've already done a video, and I've talked about every single one of these players that I'm skipping over. I've talked about every single one of them in a previous video. I really have. If you guys go back and look, I covered every position group, and I went 30 deep on every position. Richard Torres not in the portal. He went to UIW. Yeah, I don't see a lot of available guys that can make a difference. Victor Vinn was the guy I was talking about from Buford. Remember earlier I was saying I don't remember what running back it was. It was Victor Vinn. Victor Vinn and Gabe Irvin Jr. at Buford. That's where his green jersey's from, that picture right there. That's Buford. Yeah, so slim pickings in the portal right now. Not a lot of guys to choose from. That's why you don't see signings every day. And if there's anybody still in here with like high stars, major character concerns, okay, Deshaun Woods. I'd say he's one of the best. They moved him down to 3 stars, but this is a 4-star kid. Went to Wyoming. This was like the top player in Nebraska coming out of high school. The highest rated 4-star. Well, Wyoming's only had 2 4-stars in the history of their school. It was him and then another guy who left a JUCO back in 2002. I forget his name. He never played for them either. And Deshaun Woods never saw the field. He had grade issues this spring. He didn't even play spring ball with them. But he's still probably one of the most talented players in the portal. I think he goes the JUCO route, but that's probably the number 1 guy for sure. Now, if I'm talking about talent, Danny Lockhart, this is an Ole Miss transfer. He's from USC first. Couldn't play at USC, transferred to Ole Miss, couldn't play at Ole Miss. Where's he going to go? So they got to be realistic. If you couldn't start at USC, why the hell can you start at Ole Miss? You can't go Power 5 to Power 5. You need to go lower. Go lower. You might be able to play, right? Go to a group of 5 for all I care. But some kids are wasting their eligibility. Peter Warwick Jr., cool name. Cool name, Peter Warwick Jr. That's his son. That's his dad. You guys know his dad, Peter Warwick. Day Hunter, probably the best player in the portal. There you go. Day Hunter, 900-yard rusher last year for Liberty. He is a good football player. Head case, wants to go play for somebody else, and he's not going to join a team because he has to sit out a year. So there's no point in even signing with the team because he has to sit out for the year. So he'll just probably wait till after the season, and then he can play next year. But he's going to want to go somewhere where he's wanted. Right now it's slim pickings. Nobody has scholarships available. He might end up somewhere he's not wanted, right? Or not going to get a chance to even make the roster or whatever. So best player in the portal talent-wise is Day Hunter. Sure, I'll buy that. But it's his second undergraduate transfer in 2 years, and he won't be able to play. Just letting you know, I was first, yo. Someone removed it. Anywho, less of me and more of you. It's a good thing. Shout out to you, Willie Bobo. You were not first. No one removed it. I was here. I watched it, and it didn't happen for you, buddy. Hate to break it to you. Texas Tech going to get their first 5-star. That's what they're telling me. How much do you make off TikTok? Yeah, I make enough to be very happy. Jordan Lockhart making his commitment tomorrow. Okay. Who's the most set up for success in the MAC? Ohio. Ohio has the top returning quarterback. Ohio has a 1,000-yard rusher in Bangora. Ohio Bobcats are the best team in the MAC next season. Toledo, I respect them. Miami of Ohio, I respect them. All the directional Michigan schools are going to be in trouble. They got raided for all their best players by Minnesota and all the bigger brothers. But, yeah, give me Ohio Bobcats for sure. They won 10 games last year. They're not scrubs. They're very good. They're a top 25 team. If they win 10 or more games, they're going to be in the top 25. Watch. What's the logic for not having the Colts as the worst draft class? I didn't announce the worst draft class. So what's the logic in assuming I have a worse draft class? That don't work for me. Who is the best newly hired head coach in the FCS that is set up for success in your opinion? Israel Choa, I don't actually know all the newly hired FCS head coaches. I would assume Incarnate Word, who'd they hire? Because it's not Eric Scott, it's not G.J. Kinney, who'd they hire? And whoever it is, he's set up for success. Good evening. Do you think Colorado's speed will be an advantage in the Pac-12 on both offense and defense? Thanks. Boss Omar, I don't think Colorado's any faster than any team in the Pac-12. They're all very fast teams in the Pac-12. I don't see a speed advantage at all. I see comparable speed. I see really good players at Colorado that are fast, but they're not any faster than anybody else in the Pac-12. There's no speed advantage there. Everybody can run. Sorry for the repeats. Didn't know you're going to go all the way through. I go all the way through, Stephen Duke, and I take my time. I'm not in any hurry. No, can I get the link to your brother? I'm sorry to that mirror. Okay, so to your brother, I'm sorry to that mirror. Okay, so my brother has his own channel. It's called Marantz Rants. MARANTZ, right? He does it twice. So Marantz Rants is the channel. I'll type it in here. He doesn't talk sports. He talks the stock market. He talks GameStop. But he talks about finances in general. So if you want to know about investing, finances, and you find it interesting, he's on live every single day. Go ahead and watch his channel. Thoughts on Jeremiah Smith? None whatsoever. Mario Cristobal is Cuban. Okay. Mario Cristobal is Cuban. Cool. Give him the Cuban link. I got it. So we got two then. Are 11 wins realistic for Florida State? I've looked at their schedule. It's realistic, Connor. It's realistic. Everybody's hoping they do their thing. So that's a realistic number. I messed up on the Dylan question. Will TCU take a step back this season, or could they be better than last season in your opinion? Israel Cho, I've talked about this at length, okay? I've talked about this a lot. I have them taking a huge step back. I have TCU winning 4 or 5 games this upcoming season. I have TCU being not good. They lost 8 guys to the NFL draft. They did not restock with some amazing 3 recruiting classes in a row like the other teams out there that lose 8 guys to the draft. They do not have a history of great recruiting classes that they're building off of. They went and hit the transfer portal. They went and got some good players to backfill, but it's not the same. It's not the same. They lost complete studs, and they lost a lot of depth in the transfer portal as well. I have TCU not winning all those games that they won in the second half last year. It was a miracle. Neo, as in Northeastern, not just Northeast, Northeastern Oklahoma. That is correct. A&M. Northeastern Oklahoma A&M. Correct. Yo, what up, Rico? Hope all is well. Do you think Dominic Blaylock can have a big year for Georgia Tech? Well, he's going to have as big a year as he can have. I don't know what type of offensive scheme they're going to have. Obviously, I like their quarterbacks coach in Chris Winkie. I like their offense coordinator coming over from Georgia. I like their head coach. I like Brent Key. I like everything Georgia Tech's doing. But You got Haynes King at quarterback. Let's hope he can get him the rock. I like Dominic Blaylock. Good kid. I like the way he plays game. We'll see what happens. I don't blame him for transferring, though. Georgia doesn't throw to wide receivers, so they only throw to one, and they throw to their tight end, and they do checkdowns. What range do you think Tulsa will fit in the American? I love Tulsa. I love what they did in the transfer portal. I love that they're trying to recover from losing their starting quarterback, Davis Brin, but they got Braylon Braxton. Oh, my God. They got one of the Presley brothers, right? They got a hell of a team. I like Tulsa. Now, you're in the American. You got your work cut out. I don't think they're going to win a lot of games this year. I really don't. But I like where they're going. So, where do I see them fitting in? Well, let's go look at their schedule. Let's not just wing it, though. We got to look at Tulsa, right? Tulsa 2023 football schedule. Let's pull it up. This is going to be bad, though. Oh, my goodness. Do they really play Washington and Oklahoma? Ugh. Yikes. So, they're going to start off with Pine Bluff and beat them. Getting smoked. They're going to win here. That's 2. I got Tulsa beating Temple, maybe. Florida Atlantic, probably not. Look at this. 1, 2, 3. Give me 4 to 5 wins. Give me 4 to 5 wins for Tulsa, possibly. 4 to 5. What? 4 to 5 wins. Let's see it. I love their quarterback. Just so you guys know, I absolutely love Tulsa's quarterback. You guys should know this. Sorry, guys. Tulsa will be mid. Well, I don't know how the rest of the conference is doing. Is the American Tulane's to lose? I'm not big on Tulane like everybody else thinks. I'm just not. I like Pratt, but I'm not big on Tulane. Tulane lost a really good corner in Jaden. They lost their heart and soul of their team in Tajay Spears. They lost their running back. And they lost Cam Carroll, the backup running back, too. I'm not big on Tulane. They lost some secondary coaches, 3 of them. Yeah. Not in the American. I actually like UTSA showing up and rocking them. I like Memphis, too. I like Memphis and UTSA in the American, just so you're aware. Thoughts on Latrell McCutcheon leaving USC? Dude was nice coming out of ATX. So, yeah, I talked about him already, and I just think he's a good player that can't see the field at those big schools. He needs to be realistic. So he needs to transfer to somewhere he can see the field. So, yeah, come home to Texas. But now pick one of the schools that you can actually see the field at. I'm sorry, I got this like bug in my house. I can't have a bug in the house. That drives me crazy, y'all. I'm about to attack my monitor, and I just got this. I just caught it in there like Miyagi up in this piece. All right. Sorry about that. Let me get focused again. Micah hasn't enrolled yet, still recruiting. He did cancel his trip to Texas, so fingers crossed. Yeah, so when I hear a guy, a 5-star guy, not going to go on this trip, I don't care. I don't care. Doesn't move me. To add to one of your videos yesterday about public high schools recruiting players, my high school soccer coach got kids from Haiti and bring them here to live and play. Hey, it happens. What do you think of Oregon State's coaching staff? One of the best in the damn country. They are recruiting one of my linebackers, only seeing their USC game, and defense look good to me. So, Ruben Rust, Oregon State's coaching staff does more with less, does more with less, and they're just so good. I really love everything about Oregon State's coaching staff. When you watch them, go back and watch the game against Florida, the bowl game, and watch them dismantle Florida. And they're doing it with just straight, teamwork. And the announcers just start ranting and raving about it. What Jonathan Smith has done as a head coach and what Oregon State has a real culture, like a winning culture. And they're building their own kids. They're doing it themselves. It is the K-State recipe for success. I look at certain programs across the country that just do more with less, and they build and they make great players. And the 3 programs that come to mind are Pitt, K-State, and Oregon State. They're all kind of equivalent to me. They're a little bit better than half of the conference, and they just do more with 3 stars. I like Oregon State a lot, and I love their coaching staff. Yep. Anytime you see a guy like Omar Speights leave Oregon State, their best linebacker, and go to LSU to be a starter, it sucks. Sucks for them. but they got more, and they're going to keep training and coaching and working. They got a kid that just came in on the defensive line from Wyoming. He's an NFL player. I've made a video about this kid. There is no way, I can't pronounce his name. It's like Oluwaso O-O, something like that. O-O, 2 O names. Nigerian name. I can't say it correctly. But I don't want to butcher it. But this kid, coming out of Houston in 2020, the COVID year, they didn't recruit properly. All these college teams didn't get to go see all these players because they couldn't go on campus. And there was, they could only recruit through huddle film and shit like that. So they didn't recruit properly. So then this kid goes to Wyoming, and he's just dominating at Wyoming. Everything on tape just pops. He's a monster of a defensive end. He's an edge rusher. And he just transferred to Oregon State. Oregon State got a player, bruh. They got themselves a future first, second, third rounder on the defensive line in the transfer portal. It's awesome. And I'm watching the tape going, is nobody watching this? This kid's a monster. I'm telling you. So I like Oregon State. I like what they're doing. He may be a handful. Who's going to be a handful? I don't know, Chris. Do you think Savell Small, 6'3", 260, should try and play down tackle? No, I think he's just a rotational guy regardless of where he plays. I think he should have never been labeled the way he was. He's an athletic kid, but they shouldn't have gave him 5 stars. Stop trying to move his position because he's not working out. He's just not that good. Stop trying to find solutions. He's just part of the team, added depth, go play, but stop looking at him that way. And that's what I say about all these kids with certain stars. Stop looking at them as stars and start looking at production. And in 3-4 years, they still haven't seen the field. They're fourth string. Nah. They just stop. It's like somebody asked me today, hey, is Jake Garcia a bust? And I'm like, well, no. He's a bust because you called him a 4-star quarterback coming out of high school, and he went to Miami, couldn't start, and now he's at Missouri, and he might start. But if he was a 3-star quarterback, you'd be saying he's a good prospect, and he's got a lot of potential. It's just because somebody gave them some stars before they ever got to college. It's these recruiting websites giving guys stars. It makes people label them a bust or a hidden gem or blue chipper, all this shit. The blue chip ratio, you don't even know these kids. You don't even know how good they're going to be. Kids develop differently. They mature at different rates. This is why marriages in your teens don't work out. Because you don't even know what you're going to grow up to be. You don't even know what you're going to turn out to be. You married somebody and you guys never even lived together. They don't know these guys. In your opinion, who is the GOAT of the UFC? I don't know. I don't like to have that conversation. Israel, there's a bunch of people that can vie for it. There's about 5 or 6. I don't care. What's your take on Justin Wilcox at Cal? Stability is good, but that's a long tenure for a guy that doesn't get a winning season. So, Victor, I actually like it. I actually like the fact that the university is sticking with a guy who, does well, does good with his job. They're good in academic progress rate, or APR. They have great players. They're not getting arrested. They're not doing anything wrong. It's a good program. It's fine. They're not winning everything, but you cannot, remember, to win, you have to invest a certain amount of money in your football program. They're not doing that. Cal's not doing that. Cal's not investing a certain amount of money in their football program. Not as much as the others. There's just no way. And then in the spring, all of a sudden, they were able to win every recruiting battle this spring. They got some money. They had to. They started winning every recruiting battle. Every player was going on a trip to Cal and then coming out with a damn jersey saying, I'm going to Cal. You're like, what? How did they get him? Well, they're winning. They're winning the recruiting battle. So maybe they got more money coming, but I'm cool with Justin Wilcox as a coach. I am. He's a good guy. I can't think of a better coach. I can think of other coaches, but it's like, why get rid of somebody who's quality, right? Just keep them. It's not a problem. How do you feel about the Longhorns? I have them 10th in my preseason poll. That's how I feel about the Longhorns. I feel like Justin Wilcox and Cal should separate ways. After this game. You mean after this season? Mountain West thoughts. Hey, shout out to Boise. I think Boise's going to run through the Mountain West next year. So I like a lot of their teams improving over the next year, but Boise, Fresno State's going to be down just a little bit because they lost a lot of good players, a lot of NFL players. The Boise State's going to be just like TCU. Lost a bunch of draft picks or NFL caliber players, and they lost a ton in the transfer portal as well. But they have some good players. But when I look at Boise, two-headed monster at running back, great quarterback. Boise. I also like Nevada bouncing back to be decent. I think Nevada's going to be okay, guys. Nevada made some good hires and some good transfer portal players. I'm just letting you know. People saying Julian Sane is the next Bryce Young. Ever thought? What are my thoughts? Goat42, you always come at me with these crazy questions. I don't know who's saying Julian Sane is the next Bryce Young. I don't know. Why can't he just be the next Julian Sane? The players that are in the portal at this time, are they late to the dance? Willie Bobo, they're getting pretty late. Summer's starting. Summer football's starting. They're late to camp. They already missed spring ball. Summer's starting. They got to enroll in classes. They got to get there. I don't know what the deadline is for them to get there, but, yeah, they're running pretty late. They're running pretty late at this point. Most of these guys need to go, and this is why they're enrolling in JUCOs, because you got to enroll somewhere and start taking your classes. You got to take 12 credits. So you got to do your thing. Thoughts on UTEP's offense? Hey, they always have one wide receiver worth going to the FBS and transferring to the Power 5. I think they played really well last year. If you sit down and look at UTEP's offense and actually go back and watch the tape and the games, they play pretty good. They look really good. And I think a lot of it has to do with their head coach, but I just think they'll never get over that hump because they're too far east in Texas, or it's too far west in Texas. They're just too far from the metropolitan areas and the right demographics. Like, have you been to El Paso high school football? El Paso high school football is just a bunch of little Mexican dudes running around playing football. You're not going to see anybody division. I mean, very rarely do you see somebody that's an FBS level player. So they can't even recruit at those local high schools in El Paso. So now you're having to go out to Midland and Odessa Permanent, and you're trying to convince them to go to your school instead of Texas Tech. And you're trying to hit some other – and so now what do? They start hitting JUCOs. They're hitting Kilgore like crazy. They're hitting the JUCOs in the state of Texas. But it's not a recipe for success. And when you see a team like New Mexico State get on the map, go to a bowl game and win, hire Jerry Kill as a head coach, now you're looking like, whoa, New Mexico State's 20 minutes away or 60 miles away in Las Cruces. That's a real competition for recruiting now. So, it's tough. Is Yam Banks an underrated safety? By who? Who's underrating him? Let me know. Who's underrating him? Great question. Who's underrating him? What do you think of D'Anton Lynn, the new UCLA defense coordinator? So I think UCLA's got their hands full of staying relevant in the Pac-12. I think they're going to be in like the 6th, 7th place in the Pac-12 at best. And this is after having a really good season. It just sucks. It's just a shame. There's other teams that are going to be up. So I think UCLA's in a dogfight. They're gonna flip a lot of games. They're either going to win a lot of close games or lose a lot of close games. So a lot of that will have to do with their defensive coordinator. UCLA does not have great defensive prospects. When I look at their team, draft picks, all that stuff, there's just nobody. And I don't know if they need to recruit more receivers and convert them to DB, recruit more running backs and make them linebackers. Right? Shout out to whatever they've been doing lately, but it's just not worked out. We'll see what happens. You actually did announce Seattle as your worst draft class. Oh, I did, Connor? Well, I didn't like Seattle's draft, so it could be the worst. That sounds about right. Thoughts on high school players who attend 4+ schools in their career? Yeah, Stacey Gage, Ajay Hall. Jake Garcia did 5. Jake Garcia did 5 high schools in his career, just so we're aware. So it happens. I'm not a fan of it. You're not a leader in the locker room. There's no camaraderie there. You're a free agent. You show up to a new high school. You don't know the players. You don't care about them. There's no relationship. You're there for 1 year. You're a hired gun. You play, and then you transfer. Sometimes they even transfer. Like some of these guys going to Buford, they're not playing. They're going to be early enrollees. They're not even going to play. They're not going to be at that school in the spring. So they just show up for 4 months. It's not a real thing. So I'm not a fan of it. That's the short end of the stick there. I'm not a fan of it. GameStop for life. Okay. Is Dylan Raiola legit, Rico? Any thoughts on his film? I have not broken down Dylan's film. Haven't broken it down. Don't even waste my time watching it. I'll watch some of his games in his senior year. I'm obviously familiar with who he is, but I have never made an assessment on his talent or his ability to play the game of football. Guys, I don't do that shit. I don't waste my time on some random recruit down in high school. I really focus on the transfer portal and the FBS teams and the players on their rosters. If I waste my time looking at this guy's tape, he gets to Georgia, and the starting quarterback is Brock Vandergriff, and then the next year the starting quarterback is Gunnar Stockton, and then the next year Gunner's going to start again, and this guy transfers. What would I do? I just wasted my time looking at film on a guy that hasn't played in 3 years? I'll get around to it, but right now, it's not a priority for me. I apologize, JT. In your opinion, do you think Tom Herman can make a FAU successful program? You know, Israel Choa, he did, or Lane Kiffin did, so I'm assuming Tom Herman can do it. He did numbers for Houston. He's getting players. He's got some good players at FAU. Now, he lost his number one wide receiver. Jamal Edrin, he left. I think he went to – where did he go? I think he went to Purdue, and that guy was so good. Edrin is so good on film. He looks like an NFL wide receiver to me. So I think he can still make them successful, though. It's Florida. Get some players. Coach them up. Got a great quarterback. Go make it happen. Thoughts on UConn this year? They have some interesting games with Duke, James Madison, NC State. Could they knock off Duke at home or too soon, and is Duke too good? Yeah, so Duke's in my top 25. I like Duke. Duke won 9 games last year. You should not be talking about Duke at all. Duke's better than NC State. Duke is very good. Riley Leonard is so good. UConn does not want to see Duke in any day on the field at any time. James Madison looks better than UConn, and NC State looks better than UConn. UConn's going to be in trouble. UConn lost its 2 leading receivers to the transfer portal, and the backups, the replacements are not on par. They really aren't. Shout out to Jim Moore Jr. Shout out to Rosa, the running back. Shout out to everything they're doing over there. I like what they did. They beat Boston College 13-3, but UConn is not back like you'd imagine. They're just not. UConn's going to be in trouble. Not against any of those opponents do I see them winning. Why do you think Memphis in the American, you said it yourself, they're losing a lot to the transfer portal. I said Memphis lost all their wide receivers in the transfer portal. That's all they lost, was all their wide receivers. They have a good quarterback. Memphis has a very good quarterback. Memphis has Blake Watson transferring in from ODU. So once you get Old Dominion's leading rusher, a 1,000-yard rusher, and Blake Watson back-to-back, well, he rushed for 1,100 yards 2021, 900 yards last year. This is the guy who was playing the wide receiver, moved to running back. Blake Watson's the truth. So you get Blake Watson on that offense, we got a problem. I really like Memphis to score. Okay, Texas going to win it all. Quinn will take the next step. A healthy, Worthy, Nair plus Jonte Cook. Going to be Big 12 Freshman of the Year. Yeah, so Jonte Cook's tape looks good. He's that guy. I don't get excited about true freshman wide receivers. They should not be in your rotation. They should be on the depth chart. They should not be on the field. You should have better players on your team. You've been recruiting for the last 4 or 5 years. There should be more developed senior players on your team. We should not ever hear the name. But he's going to get on the field. Let's let him go rocket. Texas will be back. We all know it. Okay, Mekhi Jones is in. All in. Oklahoma State does the most with 3 stars. I don't believe so. I believe that's K-State. K-State won the conference with 3 stars. K-State did not have a single 4-star in their recruiting class until last year. K-State does way more than Oklahoma State with 3 stars. Oklahoma State has a ton of 4-star guys, and they're not winning at all. Rico, what's your take on Jamarcus Russell? Fat and lazy. Rico, love me some Boise and Fresno State. There you go. Thoughts on Sean Lewis? Do you think he's good? Sports Highlights have talked about this a number of times. I think he's one of the best offensive coordinators available. I think he's very good. Thoughts on Graham Mertz? Inept. If he throws more than 18 times a game, you lose. Graham Mertz has never been a good quarterback. I went and looked at all his tape in high school. Never took a snap under center, so he didn't know how to. So he got to Wisconsin. He didn't know how to do it. He doesn't know how to do play action. If he turns his back to the defense, he cannot find the ball again. Like, he can't find where he's supposed to put it. He doesn't know how to read defenses and make progression reads. So when you turn around and fake a handoff, play action, and then turn your head up and look, he can't complete the pass. I've really studied this. I've made videos on this. Search hashtag Rico Knows, hashtag Florida on TikTok, and you will find my videos on Graham Mertz. Not a fan. Matt B. Great said that on his video. What did he say? Matt B. Great talked about me on his video. I know that. Yo, Rico, but once again, I want to be greater than everybody. Yo, Rico, I hope you're having a wonderful day. How great do you think Marvin Harrison Jr. will be? As good as he can be. How's Bert Emanuel Jr. going to do at Central Michigan? Yeah, Central Michigan's going to have a tough year. So I hope he does well. Central Michigan's going to have a tough year. Do you think Victor Winnebago is going to live up to superstar status? I don't know. I don't worry about superstar status. I don't worry about expectations and hype. Let the kid come over here. He's never played a full season of basketball. He's never played 82 games. So what are we talking about? Is this the year UTSA wins a bowl game? Israel Choa, I would have to see who they're playing in a bowl game. I don't make predictions like that. They got to get in a bowl game first, and I got to see who it's up against. Sorry, but UCLA is in a bad place. Fight on, USC fans. What's up with Chris Marshall? Is he on a new team yet? No. Chris Marshall's not a student athlete. This guy probably won't get on a team. Gotcha, Rico, makes sense. You doing a fight night stream on Saturday? Usually am, JT. Hope to see you there, brother. On Twitter, I said 8 to 9 wins for Notre Dame, and some Notre Dame fans attacked me. Is that too low, harsh? I have Notre Dame losing 4 games in a row. So don't even ask me about Notre Dame. I already did this. I already broke down their schedule the other night. Go find it. 4 games in a row. Do you know that Oklahoma State is changing the gap scheme, Michigan run game on offense and a 3-3-5 defense, a new defense coordinator from D2? Yeah, I'm aware of all their changes. I'm not excited about it. Did you know they lost everybody in the transfer portal? They lost 7 starters in the transfer portal. It was bad. What are your thoughts on Texas A&M this year? I think they have too much talent to lose, so they better win. My wife has a few questions. What's your favorite underdog story? Why do you love college football so much? And what's your reason for teaching us the unknowing? Okay, Twitch. Shout out to your wife for watching and wondering. My favorite underdog story, and I don't know if you mean like all time or what. So there's a guy named Tony Atkins, and you guys can watch this on YouTube, I'm sure. But he won the national championship in Division II basketball, and Tony made 2 amazing steals and went and drove him up for the game-winning layup. He took the game over. Tony Atkins, it's a complete amazing underdog story. The first thing that comes to mind, he ended up becoming a Harlem Globetrotter and didn't play in the NBA, so that's a pretty big one. There's some track and field ones where the underdog won. Whew. There's a lot, man. A lot of stuff that comes to mind, and I hate that I'm forgetting certain people. Why do you love college football so much, and what's my reason for teaching us? So I like teaching you guys because it gets me paid. I do things for money. But no, I would say I love college football so much because of the variety, because I'm tired of the same 32 teams in the NFL. I like the purity of college football. I like the fact that these young men go out there and you can see option and running quarterbacks and wishbone and just a bunch of different types of schemes. There's all types of – you don't get it in the NFL. The NFL is just so template-driven, so equivalent-driven. I hate meta. You guys know what I mean by meta? Like if you play a video game, everybody has a meta build and a meta layout. I do my own thing. I don't do the meta. I don't like the meta. So that's why I like college football so much. But I like teaching you guys because I actually want support. Remember that. I want people to sit down and learn from me and then walk away from it going, damn, there's more there. I want to learn more from that guy. That's why I do it. I've always been a teacher. I've always been an instructor. I've always been a professor. You know, when you're an AIT instructor in the Army, that's an advanced individual training instructor in the Army, you are a college professor. At least for my MOS I was, right? I taught pulse circuits, AC/DC voltage drops. I taught schematics. I taught electronic engineering. And when I taught this to students, all the students were adult-age students. So I'm essentially a professor at a college. We all have our degrees. We're all highly educated, military intelligence, senior leader. And I can remember saying, man, I do this well. I teach these adults well. It's natural for me. I can explain things and then use analogies. I can put it in perspective for them. I can just get you to learn things. And if I can explain things that way, I just feel like it resonates more with you and it sticks and you retain it. So 30 days from now, you're going to hear a story and you're going to go, oh, I learned that. Rico already talked about that. Yeah, I know this, that, and the other. And I love imparting knowledge on people. So that's where that comes from. That's why I love to do it. So shout out to your wife. I love to do it because it's a passion of mine. Favorite underdog story, Muggsy Bogues and Spud Webb. You should learn their life stories. It's amazing. Spud Webb, dude, he played great in junior college and wasn't going to get a look at all. Went back to work for like his dad's company or some type of company, and then somebody invited him out to a tryout, and he balled out, and then he made it into college, Division I. Pretty cool story. I was certain that Josh Allen would fail in the NFL. His film at Wyoming was extremely underwhelming, being drafted 7th overall. Do you agree? If so, do you know why he didn't facepalm? Yeah, Connor. So I don't like Josh Allen as a quarterback. I don't think he's very good. I'm on record for saying he's a bust. Now, is he a bust? I think so. I think his turnover numbers are unforgivable. I think he'll never win anything significant. But he's an all-pro quarterback. And when he got to the NFL, they gave him Dabo. And Dabo's a hell of a coach. Oh, and his quarterback's Coach Ken Dorsey, the same guy that made Cam Newton an MVP. So when you put it all together and you're in the right circumstance, it can look like you're succeeding. But I think when it matters most, he won't succeed. I don't think he's wired for succeeding. I don't think he'll ever win anything meaningful. He's just earned the right to lose in the playoffs. That's all it is. Because he has a very good wide receiver. If you go look at his stats, go look at his production, he had a huge jump once they got Diggs, Ken Dorsey, and Dabo. Threefold. They got Diggs, Dorsey, and Dabo. The 3 Ds. They got Triple D all in the same year, and it flipped this man's entire career around, and it made him amazing after 2 years of looking terrible. Okay? And nobody remembers those 2 years because he looked so good recently. But for me, I see a guy who fumbles, I see a guy who throws picks, and is not clutch in the matters that in the moments that matter. And I'll never, ever get off that. And I think he'll end his career looking very disappointed about what he achieved. I mean it. He's a stat monster right now. Everybody's looking at him going, oh, my God, he's so great. But last year was a regression. It wasn't as good as the year before. And I give a lot more credit to his quarterback's coach and Dabo. Look what Dabo did this year, right? You got to look at what Dabo can do with anybody. Like Dabo goes to the Giants and makes Daniel Jones relevant, right? Makes Daniel Jones one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC. So we'll see. Got him paid. Who has the easiest path in the SEC? Georgia's schedule, my goodness. James Campos, I don't understand why anybody thinks the SEC is easy or anybody has an easy schedule. It's the SEC. It's the strongest conference in the country. Blah, blah, blah. Every single SEC team has an easy path. They do not play 9 conference games. They play 8 conference games. You got an easy path. You already have 4 wins lined up for you. You're going to go in there with 4 wins. All you got to do is win 2 conference games and you're bowl eligible. You got 4 wins lined up, bruh. You got to win 2 conference games, you're bowl eligible. Texas A&M is so terrible they almost made a bowl game because they only had to win 2 conference games. That's all you got to win. Hey, but then they went and lost to App State. That's their problem. All the SEC schedules are easy. They don't play each other. Who is Cal going to start at tight end? Pete, I don't know. I don't know. I owe you an answer. Thank you for asking. I owe you an answer. Don't know. He said the Julian Sane will be the next Bryce Young. Okay, cool. Sorry about that, guys. Do you know what Chris Marshall did to get kicked off? Yeah, word is he failed drug tests. He came onto the program with zero tolerance. He came onto the program saying you will pass your drug test, you will go to class, 0 tolerance. And then he failed the drug test, so he was gone. What are your top 5 running backs of all time? In all sports? Top 5 running backs of all time. Number 1, Emmitt Smith. Number 2, Jim Brown. Number 3, Marshall Faulk. Number 4, Barry Sanders. Number 5, O.J. Simpson. And I almost left Barry Sanders off because I don't give Barry Sanders a pass. Barry Sanders quit on his team. He's a bona fide quitter. James Harden quit on his team. I don't like people who quit. I don't like quitters. Barry Sanders is a quitter. Barry Sanders holds the NFL record for most yards lost. Okay? It's one of his records. Most yards lost. Barry Sanders never made anybody else around him a Hall of Famer. Barry Sanders never made anyone else around him better. They had great players on that Lions team. Go look at Herman Moore's stats in the 90s. 92, Herman Moore, 122 receptions. Somebody look it up. Barry Sanders absolutely trash stats in blowout games. All those great runs you see, second half against backups, bro. They were losing so bad, they put in backups and then you go get 100 yards against nobody. People don't remember they don't remember the truth. I do. I know this. Emmitt Smith made Troy Aikman a Hall of Famer, and Troy Aikman's numbers are not Hall of Fame worthy. That's how good Emmitt Smith is. He made other guys get into the Hall of Fame that weren't very good. They always talk about his offensive line was so great. He made them great. They weren't that good. I went back and watched the film. I love what Larry Allen looks like on film. He looks good. Not Nate Newton. Not Mark Tuinei. I've studied this. I'm ready for this question. Yeah, give me OJ putting 14 games and 2,000 yards. Give me Marshall Faulk for being a damn Swiss Army knife. And if I leave Barry off, I got to put LaDainian Tomlinson in. So that's where I'm at. I just don't like Barry for being a quitter, and I think he got a bunch of empty stats and blowout losses when no one else was on the field. True story. Do you think Micah Hudson goes to Tech? I don't really worry about it, guys. I don't care if somebody commits there or not. I don't care if they verbally commit. None of it matters to me. I know UTSA lost Franklin, but didn't they add a wide receiver in the portal? They did add a wide receiver in the portal. Wasn't a marquee name. Wasn't anybody that great. I talked about him before. Go find the video. Do a hashtag transfer portal, hashtag UTSA on TikTok. Do a search, and you'll find all my videos on UTSA, and I talk about it all time. Yep. Rico, when evaluating recruits' film, whether in the portal or in high school, what is the absolute first thing you look at no matter what position? So I look at their metrics, how tall, their size, because their size will justify the star rating or not, right? If I see a wide receiver and he's playing great and then I realize, oh, he's 5'8", that's why he was a no-star guy. They just don't like 5'8" wide receivers. So I look at size, height, and weight. I try to make your comparison. Another example would be like a running back. I try to identify, is he as big as the lineman? Because then that tells me what level of football you're at. If your linemen are the same size as you, you're playing somewhere small. I can't get down with it. There's just things like that I look for. I look for effort on tape, regardless of position. I look for effort. Do you quit on plays? I'll also look up teammates of yours. Let me put this out there right now. I will look up teammates of yours so I can see you on tape on plays where you weren't getting the ball, on plays where you weren't on your highlight tape. You know what I'm saying? So I'll go look up all the players on that team, and then if any of those guys have a huddle film, I'll find it, and then I'll watch it. That's how I found this last guy I just talked about, the number 5 for Conroy, right? Conroy, Texas. What was the school's name? I forget the school's name. Where Alton McCaskill played. I was watching his tape, and then I saw another guy's tape, and I went and watched his tape, and I'm looking for Alton on those plays. And that's kind of how I do it. So I want to dig deep. I want to find out the truth about a player. I do this a lot. Best backfield in the Pac-12 behind USC. Oregon. Oregon's got the best running back room behind USC. After Oregon, I would go UCLA. No. Whoa. What am I doing? Best running back room in the Pac-12. Oregon State is number 1. USC number 2. Oregon number 3. UCLA 4. Utah 5. 6 is Colorado. And that's about where I'll stop before they all kind of get equivalent. That's where I'm at. College is and was pure. NFL sucks. There you go. Rico Knows. What up, Prod? Good to see you, bro. Are you sure that certain aspects of sports leagues have been rigged? If so, what are they? The aspects that have been rigged are referees are on the take. Referees can be bought. So can replay officials, apparently, because sometimes they go to instant replay and then they come back and go, we cannot confirm, blah, blah, blah. The call, stays as stand or whatever they say. It pisses me off. So, yeah, the referees, the umpires in baseball, all those dudes are on the take. Jamarcus Russell in college was amazing but sucked in the NFL. Take your point from high school to college to NFL. Yep. Wide receivers don't like Josh Allen around these parts. There you go. Triple D, just letting you know. Allen is definitely overrated. Not by me. I don't rate him very high. Heard of RCC? RCC. I don't know what that stands for. New SoCal uniforms. They're nothing. They're the same uniforms with a Big Ten sticker on them. Who will start at quarterback for Texas State? Give me TJ Finley. They didn't bring him in not to start, right? So, like, they already had Hornsby. There's no reason to bring in competition for Malik Hornsby if he's your guy. If he's your guy, you don't bring in Finley. But you saw Hornsby all winter. You saw him all spring. You weren't happy with it. He wasn't consistent enough for you, so you go out and get Finley after spring portal. You got to think about when they signed him. They signed him after seeing what they had in Hornsby. So then they go get another guy, and a guy completely different from Hornsby. They're nowhere near each other. One's a pocket passer in Finley, 6'6", 250, and then Hornsby's the fastest quarterback in the country, right? So I think Hornsby might be getting moved to receiver if he wants to see the field. Who's better, Lamar or Josh Allen? Josh Allen. Teaching today's youth, so smart but yet so dumb, but I could see you kicking periods of instruction. What do you do when they fall asleep? No one falls asleep when I'm teaching, James Campos. No one falls asleep. Number one, I outrank everybody in the room. No one's going to fall asleep. Not happening. If it's civilians, fall asleep, bro. I'm still getting paid. How you forget about Sweetness in the best running back convo? I didn't forget about Sweetness. He's just not in my top 5. That doesn't mean I forgot about him. He's just not in my top 5. How do you think J.J. McCarthy will do? J.J. McCarthy will do next year, as it seems Michigan wants to open up the passing game some more. I really hope they don't. I hope they just keep handing off the rock and dominating. I really like everything they're doing. Yo, let Rico cook. Thank you, GOAT. Thank you. Hey, shout out to Paguno for being here. You forgot Walter Payton. I did not forget Walter Payton. What about Terrell Davis? Terrell Davis had 2 really good seasons, and that is it. I cannot talk about a guy who had 2 really good seasons. So did Barry Foster. Shout out to Barry Foster. Rico's cooking. Thank you. Think Georgia Tech can make a bowl this year? I don't have them winning 6 games. I think they're great. I think what they're doing is great. I'm extremely encouraged by what they did in the transfer portal. I like what Brent Keys doing. But my whole issue is the ACC has other really good teams. So they've got their hands full of trying to make a bowl game this year. They got time, though. They got time. They're going to get some recruiting classes in. They're going to keep winning the transfer portal. I like what they're doing. Why do you think Dylan Raiola left Pinnacle? Was it transcripts related, or he didn't get the job over the current Pinnacle starter, Wyatt Norton? No, it wasn't even transcripts related. It was, what's the word I want to use? Not suspension, but he wouldn't be allowed to play for 5 weeks. He couldn't play the first 5 games. He wasn't going to be allowed or qualified to play for the first 5 games of the season. So you just roll out at that point. How will UCF do in the Big 12? I've looked at them at length. They're going to win 7 to 9 games. Riverside City College, RCC. I know RCC well. I apologize. I didn't know that you were referring to a California junior college. Yeah, I'm from Riverside County, so born and raised, lived there for 20 years. I know RCC in that regard. Yeah, I know Riverside Community College. Wide receiver, not wide end, not wide receiver, my bad. Not wide, okay. Don't think Hornsby is there yet as a passer, but I could be wrong. Yeah, he's just not a very good passer. How do you think that Kentucky will do with Devin Leary this upcoming season? I have them doing well. 7 to 9 wins. They're in my top 25. I like them. Hornsby should have been playing wide receiver at Nebraska. Well, Hornsby was at Arkansas, so I don't know when he was going to Nebraska. Is this coming out of high school? Because he was at Arkansas before he got to Texas State. Curtis Martin, certainly not top 5, but Davis' comment brought him to mind. Yeah, Curtis Martin's better than Terrell Davis. Colorado would be pissed on your rating for backfield. They won't be pissed. They got to understand that there are guys out there who've actually done this, right? There's guys who've actually done this. I respect Colorado's running back room. I like them a lot. There are guys that are actually out there. Like, I like potential, and then I like people who have production, who've actually done it. There's a huge difference. What do you think Florida is going to do this year? Think they're going to play games and lose? What do you think Bailey Zappi's ceiling is? I'm a huge fan of Western Kentucky. Well, his ceiling is the NFL. He's in the NFL. That's where we're at. Who are the bad teams in the ACC? Virginia, Boston College, Virginia Tech. There's 3. I got Miami. I just think they're going to underwhelm, but no. That's where I'm at. RCC got violated by CSM in the state title last year. Okay. Do you know the Carson Newman receiver from last season? Jack Ireland, you got to be more specific. Leary was better than Levis. Yeah, he's an upgrade from Levis for sure. Nobody's saying Levis is any good. Levis has been trash. Hornsby flipped to Texas State last minute out of the portal. No. Hornsby did not flip to Texas State last minute out of the portal. Hornsby signed in the winter. That's not last minute. Where is Eric Dickerson in your all-time running back room? Somewhere between 5 and 10. Do you think McCord will be able to sustain the consistent success OSU has had at quarterback? No, and no again. No, but he's got great weapons, so what's it going to matter? When you say consistent success, I don't know what you mean. Do you mean first-round draft picks? Do you mean winning 11 games? A lot of it has nothing to do with the quarterback play. It has to do with the star wide receivers they have. Shout out to Brian Hartline and Trayvon Henderson. Some of their great running backs. Like, there's a whole other reasons. Rico, I'm single. I don't give a shit what you are. I don't care. You're single for a reason, Aster. And I know who you are. I could care less that you're single. If you had to pick a team to make a major improvement record-wise, who are some you think that can do it? Danny Waller, Colorado. Colorado comes to mind. Iowa State comes to mind. Charlotte. I mean, we're looking at some of the worst teams last year. I hope they do better. Those three, Texas A&M, there's 4. Florida above or under 4 games. They're going to be above 4 games because they're out of conference schedule, but they're not very good. The wife has another question. Did you play football? Yes. If so, position did you play? Wide receiver, free safety, corner, where? Southern California. Thoughts on Rice and the prediction this year? No thoughts on Rice whatsoever. Good luck, and I'm done. Braxton Westfield. I swear I saw that name somewhere. Why did I see Braxton Westfield? Let me check something. Oh, I did not. What are we talking about? Give me a second here. Nope. I have not looked at his tape. Thank you for the name, Jack Ireland. I appreciate you, brother. Rico, why can't you be as nice as your brother? Because I'm not my brother, and I'm not fake. Move on. Stop talking about non-sports shit, or you're going to get blocked. Texas A&M is going to have a bounce-back season. Only really lost A-Chain offensively and gained an offensive coordinator. Fair enough. Are you following the missing submarine? I am, but I want to know why no one's made a bigger deal about the missing flight from Malaysia. Okay, they lost 240-something people. You guys are out here losing some other stuff. Most overrated coach in college football, Jimbo Fisher. No A&M players made Phil Steele's preseason All-SEC first team. Do you think that's a correct assessment? I haven't seen the first team. So I don't know. Thoughts on Jaquindon Jackson? This is why I put Utah's running back room ahead of Colorado's. Jackson is one of the best running backs in the country that nobody's talking about. I like him a lot. Probably put him back at quarterback at some point. Jack Jones from my hood. Thoughts on Jack Jones making a comeback? Jack Jones is facing 30 years in prison, just so you know. His charges are 30 years in prison. Rico's pimp hand is strong. It is what it is. Do PFF ratings actually matter? Not to me, but they matter to some people. Do you think Malachi Nelson can get the job done if Williams goes down? No, James Campos. I don't think he'll ever see the field. He's going to redshirt, and he should not get the job done of any sort, and I don't think Williams should go down. Jimbo is who came to mind to me as well. Group of 5, Billy overrated 2, and Mario Cristobal. No, they're not overrated because I don't think very highly of them. They're not overrated because where are they on your list? They're not up there. What is the worst Power 5 conference in your opinion? I think it changes from year to year. The worst Power 5 conference changes from year to year. This upcoming season, it's going to be the Big 12, and they're not that bad. It's just the other conferences have some elite teams and some very good teams. Or the $6 billion mistake of Ukraine. Calm down, James Campos. We're not here to talk politics. We're here to talk sports. Thoughts on Matt Campbell? Think he's going to do well. They lost 6 games last year by 1 possession or less. They have a really good team. They're competitive in their losses. Just need to put it together, or he's gonna be fired. You should start covering the basketball transfer portal as well. Cole Roberts, that is absurd. There are 300 Division I basketball teams. I have no desire to cover 301 Division basketball teams. 300 Division I basketball teams. Just not a chance in hell. I'm not doing it. I already stretched myself thin by doing 133 FBS teams and knowing enough about FCS teams to have a conversation about them that I just don't like it. And I cover the NFL, but there's not an appetite for me to do it. Utah ceiling, 9 wins. Is Tampa your number 1 draft class? You changed a couple times. Just curious. So there was 3. There was Tampa, Pittsburgh, and New England. Tampa, Pittsburgh, and New England, I think, were my top 3. What is your opinion on Mekhi Lemon? None whatsoever. None whatsoever. I don't really have an opinion on him. What do you think about JRP UCF? John Rice Plumlee is one of the top option quarterbacks in the country. I like him as a dual-threat quarterback, extremely fast. There's everything about him I like. So give me a second here. I want to hide a user on this channel. And there we go. We don't have to see them anymore. Damn, I know who it is, and it bothers me. Your sleeper college football team this year. Sleeper college football team. Duke, Louisville, Texas Tech. I don't know. I'm not sleeping on anybody. Colorado. I'm not sleeping on anybody. I know who I like. Is Carter Nelson going to Georgia? I have no idea. I'm not concerned with recruits. Who wins the Ole Miss win job? You mean quarterback job? It's already done. Jackson Dart won that job. It's over. How will Georgia Southern do next season? I hope they do well. They're going to do a bunch of stats. But I don't know if they're going to win a lot of games. Row the boat guy. PJ. Okay. Fleck, yeah. At Minnesota also seems to be highly overrated. Forgot his name. So, no, he's not overrated. He's underrated. He's doing great. He's working miracles at Minnesota. It's just unfortunate that he loses his running backs coach to go be the head coach at Kent State. Like, he lost a positions coach. He didn't lose his offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. He lost his running backs coach to go be a head coach at Kent State. I don't get it, man. It's not his fault. His star running back, Mo Ibrahim, tore his ACL in 2021. Things just go wrong sometimes for your team injury-wise, and you're left to pick up the pieces. It'll be Miller Moss, exactly. The backup quarterback at USC is Miller Moss. You will never see a 5-star freshman in there. How many games do you think the Saints will win this year? I've never looked at their schedule. What 4 teams are going to the college football playoff this year? I don't make those predictions. Just win your conference, and then they'll figure it out from there. Best group of 5 conference? No. It changes every year. Sunbelt looks loaded next year. They have a lot of amazing running backs. But obviously the American has been the best group of 5 for a long time. They lost their 3 best teams. But the American still looks poised to have some great teams in UTSA, Tulane, Memphis. I mean, they still got some good teams, but we'll see. Sunbelt looks loaded next year. So if it's for 1 year, it's cool. Thoughts on Iowa State's quarterback room? The quarterback room doesn't matter. Deckers is a great quarterback, and as long as he's playing, you got a chance to win. Hunter Deckers is real. Everybody else, I don't want to hear about it. You don't worry about your backup quarterback. And that goes for every school. Are you familiar with Utah's quarterback room? Yes. Doesn't matter. You want Cam Rising, and that's it. Thoughts on Stanford this year with new coach from Sac State? Troy Taylor is the new head coach. Stanford's got their work cut out. They're going to be one of the worst teams in the Pac-12. It's not their fault. They just can't recruit. They just can't get transfers in. It's an admissions thing. Washington will win the Pac-12. Shout out to you. They may not win, but I think Duke can give Clemson a game this year. I do too, Danny Waller. Rico, don't screw around, but he would not be able to know enough to do transfers with all those teams from college basketball. Pray for me. I would have to study it, and then I would learn it all, and I would know enough. I can do it, but then I'd be losing out time on other things. I wouldn't be able to go on my 5-mile runs every day. I'd rather do a 5-mile run in the woods than cover the basketball transfer portal. How about that? Does Texas Tech finish in the top 15 this year? Lucas Smith, I'm not here to make predictions like that. I have no idea. They have to win games to finish in the top 15. How does Penix stand as a draft prospect? He's one to me. Better question. What college football will shock us on how good they are? Well, it all depends on how shocked you are. Number 1 is Colorado, but it shouldn't shock you. They're a really good team. Colorado, Nebraska, Clemson, Florida State. Like, these teams should not shock you. They're all good teams. Shouldn't shock you. Thoughts on Matt Rule if he can turn around Nebraska? I believe so. It's going to take a couple years. Sorry about that. Were you a Desmond Ritter in college? Was I a fan of Desmond Ritter in college? Not necessarily. I didn't think he was great at Cincinnati. This is how I felt. I got FSU winning the ACC. Okay. Kobe, Nebraska will do fine. I wonder if that weirdo is the same weirdo in the lives on different accounts to watch Rico 6. No, that is a female. That is a female stalker, just so you know. I got Clemson taking the ACC this year. What you think? Cool. You got Clemson. This other guy's got Florida State. Cool. Thoughts on UC football's outlook coming into the Big 12? So Cincinnati has the best outlook coming into the Big 12 only because they have an easy schedule. Their schedule coming to the Big 12 is easy. I don't think they play Texas, Oklahoma, or K-State. Maybe Texas Tech, something like that. They don't play 3 of the top teams in the Big 12. So they have it, but they have their work cut out. Satterfield's got his work cut out. He lost a lot of good players in the transfer portal. Losing Jaheim Thomas at linebacker is a big deal. Getting Emory Jones, good deal. Henderson at wide receiver, I like it. But they did lose some stud players in the transfer portal, and they got to recover from that. Who is Texas Tech's quarterback this year? A guy named Shuck, Tyler Shuck. And all he's got to do is get the ball to Dre McCray, the transfer from Austin Peay, and they'll be fine. What do you feel Houston in the Big 12? So Houston, I don't know if they can put it all together, but their transfer portal class is better than every single transfer portal class in the Big 12. Houston's transfer portal class is better than every single team in the Big 12. That's how good it is. They have such good players coming in. They went and got studs. It's just crazy that they lost Alton McCaskill. That's what sucks for them. They lost their star running back. And obviously they lost Tank Dell, Clayton Tune in the draft. And so they got a lot to replace. But Donovan Smith coming in from quarterback from Texas Tech, good player. Just a stud. He can throw for 300, rush for 100. He's that kind of guy. But they got some DBs late in the portal. Studs. I really like them. I really do. Why do you love talking about Colorado? They won't win more than 5 games. All right, 19. You don't know what you're talking about. You haven't studied rosters. I'm in here talking about every roster in America. Every team you guys ask me comes from anywhere. Questions about Houston and about this team and about this team and about this team all over the country. UConn, UTSA, Oregon State, Wyoming, blah, blah, blah. And I know every roster. So if I tell you a team is good, maybe you want to listen to me. Maybe. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're in this mindset right here. But if I look at every roster and I go, wait, that roster's really good. That team's pretty damn good. Maybe I know what I'm saying. So you say what you say. I know what I know. Colorado's got a good team. I'm letting you know right now. Shout out to Sean Lewis. Shout out to all the players on that team. You don't know what you're talking about. 19, do me a favor, bro. Go make a page. Start posting your sports takes. Go on TikTok, go on YouTube, and just start talking in front of a camera like me. And just say, hey, Colorado ain't shit. They're going to win no more than 5 games. And see who's rocking with you, bro. Make the video. And see who agrees with you. There'll be a ton of people that agree with you, but just see if you get enough traction and keep it going. I'm telling you right now, no one values that sports take. No one respects that assessment. It's not accurate. And you're going to be dead wrong next season. And I don't want to have to point it out. I'm going to be sitting pretty. I said they're winning 4 to 6 games. And this was before the spring. This was before they cleaned out the cupboard. This was before they got rid of everybody. I said they're winning 4 to 6 games. Saying, why do I talk about Colorado so much? They're only winning 5 games. Tell me another team that's going to improve by 5 wins. Tell me another team that's going to improve by 5 wins. Just let me know. When you ask me for my breakout team, that means I have to choose a team that won 4 games and they're going to win 10. I got to choose a team that won 3 games or 2 games and they're going to win 7 or 8. So I got Colorado, who won 1 game, and I got them winning a hell of a lot more because the players on that team are not the one-win players. Please understand what I'm saying. If a team went out and played a pickup basketball game right now, and they wore a bunch of jerseys, and the jerseys said Lakers on it, and they were playing in some 3-on-3 tournament down the street, and then I show up, and 2 of my buddies show up, and we put on the same jerseys. Does it matter how the hell they played in those jerseys? It does not matter how they played in those jerseys. Everybody go, hey, that Lakers team, those guys, hey, last season they went 1-7. They sucked. Oh, they got new guys in those jerseys. It's not the 1-7 team. It's new guys in the jerseys. You're failing to grasp what's happening here. This isn't the NFL. This isn't what you're used to in college. We change people in the jerseys. So all the players who wore Colorado last season and won one game and got blown out, they're all gone. So the guys that are there don't even know what it's like to win one game. They don't even know what it's like to lose. They got a new quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. Back-to-back 3,000-yard passer. Back-to-back 3,000-yard passer. Threw for over 3,000 yards, 40 touchdowns in the SCS last year. Do you understand that Cam Ward did the same thing, and he's the starting quarterback at Washington State, just won 7 games at Washington State? They didn't change the whole roster. All they brought was Cam Ward and Eric Scott to be the offensive coordinator. But they brought Cam Ward. He threw for that many yards at UIW. He didn't have a problem in the Pac-12. Who's their starting running backs? They got about 4 of them. Let's not talk about last year's running backs. They got 4 stud running backs. They could play anywhere. Wide receivers. They got about 6. None of the receivers from last year are there. It's an entirely different team that just decided to wear the same jerseys from last year. I promise you, bruh. You guys don't understand what we're doing here. It's crazy. Who just won the NBA title? Whoever won the NBA title, Denver Nuggets. They take off those jerseys. Put an entirely different team in those jerseys. Entirely different team. And go into the NBA season. And go, well, they're the returning champs. They're going to win it all. Who's in the jerseys? It's not the same guys from last year. How the hell are they going to win it all? Same concept. You look at that Colorado team, all those guys in the jerseys that were on the field not making plays, they're not there anymore. They're not on the field. Now you got studs. Now you got real ballers. Tripping. Florida State shot at winning the ACC. Yep. They're good. UTSA transfer wide receiver is Willie McCoy, JUCO All-American. There you go. Dog, you have a stalker. Yes, Eric Meadows, many. Auburn will shock some teams. I don't think so. I think Auburn's a very good team. Why would they be shocked? Nobody's going to be shocked if Auburn wins. Auburn's a good team. Rico got the female stuff, of course. Was picking Jeff Sims over Casey Thompson the right choice for Matt Rule? I believe so, Kobe. Jeff Sims can move the chains when things break down. And things are going to break down a fair amount. Jeff Sims can actually run the rock and throw it. Casey can't run it. Casey's coming back from an injury. He's not a guy that you could rely on. He couldn't practice in the spring. So you got to go with a guy that could start getting your offense implemented and go play. I like Jeff Sims. He's cool. Best quarterback in the state of Texas, Ewers or Harris? Give me Frank Harris, but I like Ewers a lot. Will Florida be better than last year? No. Florida's not going to a bowl game. Thoughts on Brady Dragosh? No thoughts whatsoever. Where's Brady from? Is Brady another recruit you guys are telling me to look up? Is that what we're doing? Oh, Brady's at Cincinnati? He's the De La Salle quarterback. Okay. Never seen him play. 6'4", 200 pounds. Never seen him play. Interesting. I'll look it up, Daniel. I owe you an answer. I shouldn't do that. I owe you an answer. Worst roster in college football this year. Bowling Green, worst roster in college football. I think Matthew Golden at Houston will be very good this year. Okay. Do offensive linemen make a significant enough impact to follow it close enough, or should most people focus on the skill position players? So David Pithen, I think coaches make an impact. I think offensive linemen take a while for them to make the starting lineup. They got to develop the majority of the time. I think you shouldn't ignore them, though. They're essential. I don't ignore them. I follow them all over the transfer portal. Write it down. I'll be right. I-9. I don't have to write it down. I'm going to remember all the people. I have the memory unreal. The amount of RAM I have up here, my hard drive space, is insane. Volatile memory and permanent memory. I got it. I know your name for all the wrong reasons. Nebraska will improve by 5 wins. That means they win 12 games. How many wins did they win last year? USC moving to the Big Ten, improve their chances of recruiting Midwest players, mainly the men up front. No, James Campos, I don't think they're going to be doing that. I don't think they have any desire to recruit in the Midwest. What it's going to have them do is beat out Utah and Oregon for the Samoan players on the West Coast. Okay? They got to get all the Hawaiian guys like they used to in the early 2000s. They got to get all the guys from Utah. They got to stop losing those guys to BYU, Utah, Oregon State, Washington. That's what it's going to do. It's going to enable them to shore up recruiting the Samoan players in their area for sure. Yeah, Colorado reloaded. They will surprise a lot of people and shut up a lot of haters. Thoughts on UCLA? Like I said, they got their work cut out. 6th best team in the Pac-12, as far as I'm concerned. People acting like Colorado are bums. They play in the Pac-12 and got an entire roster overhaul. Look at Colorado's schedule. That's all I have to say. See LMAO. Yeah, I-9. I've already looked at the schedule a lot. I've looked at the schedule a lot. You don't know what you're talking about. Where do you think Latrell McCutcheon is going to transfer to? I think it would be cool if he transferred to Houston to play with his little brother, Trey McCutcheon. So it sounds plausible. The only problem is Houston's really deep in the defensive backfield. So I don't even think he's a sure starter there. Sounds like he wants to play with his brother, go back home. But if I'm him, I'm going to UTSA, SMU, get a bag. I'm going somewhere. But you go to Houston. They got a lot, and they might fire their coach. It doesn't look too stable. Do you keep up with boxing? No, done. Killed him with Ward drop. I don't know about Ward. I don't know what I said. People don't realize that Cam Ward. Yeah, people don't realize that Deion Sanders made the most dramatic roster flip in college football history for sure. Who is Florida's quarterback this year? Graham Mertz. Colorado didn't reload. They got a new gun. Fair. Washington Huskies got a chance to win it all. They do if they win the conference. Rico is not saying Colorado's going to win the Pac-12. Not at all. But if you think 4 to 6 wins is unlikely, you're just goofy. Schedule or not, they hit the reset button rosters as fast as we've seen. Fair enough. Will Marvin Harrison Jr. win the Biletnikoff? He was not snubbed last year. I don't think he should have won it last year. There was other people with better stats for me. All right? I really liked Tank Dell to win it last year. I thought Tank Dell got snubbed. Back-to-back 1,300-yard receiving, and everybody ignored Tank Dell. So can he win it? He's got to get a quarterback that throws him the rock. Nebraska was 4-8. Yeah, Nebraska's not going. You want them to win 9 games? I got them winning 7-9. Thoughts on Ole Miss this season? None really. They need to get their shit together. They need to start when they were 7-0 last year. They fell apart. The wheels fell off, and they looked absolutely terrible against Texas Tech in the bowl game. And they cared about that bowl game. Every team does. Don't believe the media hype and don't believe the casual fan hype. Can Penn State beat OSU or Michigan? If they're on the schedule, yes. Love me, Kansas and Wyoming. Okay. Do you have FSU over Clemson this upcoming season? No, I don't really make a prediction like that. I'll wait till they're about to play each other and make a call. Rico, what's your thoughts on the new JUCO quarterback? He's a big kid, but I can't find any tape on him. You think he'll win the backup job to Shador? Titletown USA, I posted 2 videos on him today. Go find them. And I talked about him at the beginning of this podcast. Rewind it and start over, and you can see what I think about the kid. Thoughts on Billy Napier's recruiting so far? He's doing his best he can. It's hard. He's blaming his admissions office for not getting guys approved fast enough. But I think where Billy Napier struggled was in the transfer portal. He didn't get enough guys in the spring. He wasn't getting guys on campus. He wasn't even getting guys to come visit. He's not doing it right. Who do you think is the worst Power 5 coach? His name is Helfrey, and he's the coach at Boston College. Penix still slept on by a lot of the media. Can be the best quarterback in the class. Arm is crazy. I don't think anybody's sleeping on Michael Penix Jr. He led the nation in passing. How bad is West Virginia going to be this year? And do you think they have a chance to beat Pitt week 1? Going to go to the game with my buddy that loves West Virginia. So, Danny Waller, I think they have a chance to beat Pitt. I thought they were doing terrible in the transfer portal, and then they did really well in the spring. So they're putting it together. Is Neil Brown going to flip them and make them great? I don't know. But it'll be a close game, I hope. If not, Neil Brown's got to go. Where would you say Mark Stoops ranks among coaches? Top 20? A. Hyatt stats. Don't know what that means. Thoughts on Bobby Taylor in the transfer portal? Bobby Taylor didn't go to the transfer portal. He pulled out of the transfer portal. Texas A&M? He went back to school. He's not in the transfer portal. A cap gun, just make noise. Okay. West Virginia plays Penn State week 1. Do you know anything about Fresno State football? Tyler Carr. What a question. Hilarious. Yes, I know anything about Fresno State football. Yes. Do you think Georgia's defense will be up to par as the 2 previous years? No. What impact will Texas and OU have on the SEC when they join? An immense amount. They bring huge fan bases. They bring quality football teams, and they'll be recruiting SEC recruits. I think they're great. I think they're poised to be at the top of the SEC for a really long time. Those are 2 quality programs. They're not They're not average programs. They're not run-of-the-mill programs. They're elite-level programs. They're blue bloods. They're real blue bloods. Somebody said, well, Texas ain't won a national title but once in 50 years. I don't care. Texas Longhorns make more money than any university. They're the real deal. Thoughts on reports of Colorado and Arizona joining Big 12? Don't care. Teams realign all the time, guys. Go play somebody. Get on TV. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. Got my weeks mixed up in the September 16th. Okay. Which one of the new teams entering the Big 12 do you think will struggle the most? BYU. BYU. Rico, what do you know? Hamed, I know everything you don't. Does Tennessee take a step back or stay at the same level? Henley, I think this year they stay at the same level. Whatever that is, I think they stay at the same level. Whatever you want to call that. Being the third or fourth best team in the SEC. I got them the fourth best team this upcoming year in the SEC. So that's where they're at. Who did you say was the worst coach in Power 5? Helfrey. Helfrey, the head coach at Boston College. And second is Tom Allen, the head coach at Indiana. Thoughts on Dylan Raiola? I've already talked about him tonight. Do you think Penn State can win the Big Ten this year? Do you think Franklin has what it takes? They can win it. They're playing in it. Does he have what it takes? Sure. Thoughts in Matt Bowling having a down year. Heard he got cut from UGA. He didn't get cut from UGA, Danny Waller. That's ridiculous. He didn't get cut. Is he turning pro? Matt Bowling had a down year because their coaches ramped him up wrong. All the sprinters had a down year. Elijah Godwin had a bad national title meet, national championship meet. They just ramped up wrong. That's what happens. They peak too early in the indoor season and they don't run well in the outdoor season. It's the coach's fault. I know you don't normally talk about the NFL, but do you think CD can be a top 5 wide receiver this year? CD Lamb is a top 5 wide receiver. Do you think Penn State loses to OSU and Michigan again? They will look to move on from Franklin. No. They just gave Franklin a contract extension. They just won a Rose Bowl. You don't win a Rose Bowl and get fired. I don't give a flying flip what you guys think about having to win the conference. That doesn't matter. You're the third best team in your conference. You're not getting fired. That's nuts. Absolutely nuts. Thoughts on Mel Tucker? Fire him. Can you talk about him again? I don't know who you're asking about, Jason Carlin. Who are you asking about? Thoughts on Dylan Raiola? No, I'm not going to talk about him again. Rewind the damn episode. That's why it's recorded. Do you have a favorite team you follow, a team coach? No, I don't have a favorite team. I don't hate anyone. Do you pay attention to players after they move on from college to the NFL? Yeah, just to make sure I'm right. Chip Kelly getting posted after this year. Where does he rank among coaches in the Pac-12? Lincoln Riley, Winningham, DeBoer. No, Chip Kelly's right there. He's behind Jonathan Smith. So give me 3 or 4, 4 or 5, 4 or 5. 4 or 5. I don't watch track. Just going off of TikTok. I wasn't sure. Oh, stop that. People don't know what they're talking about. How does UCF hold up in the Big 12 next year with Keene? So Keene is not at UCF. Mikey Keene transferred to Fresno State. Their starting quarterback is John Rice Plumlee, and they'll be fine. They'll be good enough. We'll see what happens. I got them winning 6 games. Now that UCF, Houston, and Cincy are entering the Power 5, do you think a group of 5 team can enter the college football playoff? No. No. There's no group of 5 team that's going to enter the college football playoff unless they go undefeated. And the playoffs still only 4 teams this year, guys. Will CSU's quarterback Shedeur Sanders be a top 10 quarterback this year? I have him 6th in the Pac-12. I have him 6th or 7th in the Pac-12. So what are we talking about? Top 10 where? In the nation? No. Thoughts on Stenson getting praise in L.A.? That's all propaganda. If he plays, good luck. That's just bananas. Thoughts on ODU football? They're going to have a down year, unfortunately. I like ODU, but they lost a ton of good players, all their best players. They're going to have a down year. They really are. They're scrambling right now. It's bad. How much does the prominence of NIL affect JUCO ball? So JUCO right now is not being affected or impacted by NIL. JUCO is being impacted by COVID. COVID gave everybody an extra year of eligibility and kept all the teams at 85 scholarships. So once all the teams have 85 scholarships, it doesn't matter. High school teams or high school kids are still getting signed. Every recruiting class is still getting signed full no matter what. So where do they lose out? In the JUCO ranks. They're not taking kids from the JUCO because they sign all the high school kids. You already have a full roster, and you're trying to fit all those guys into 85 scholarships. NCAA said you can have an extra year of eligibility. So now we usually have 4 recruiting classes that we fit into the 85. Right? We usually have 4. With red shirts, we have 5. So 125 kids got to fit in 85, theoretically. You can't do it. You need roster attrition. And then they gave them an extra year. Now you have 6 guys, 6 recruiting classes. So 150 guys got to fit in 85. That's why you see so many people leaving Bama, so many people leaving A&M. They needed to drop 30 scholarship players. That's exactly what they lost in the portal. 30 guys are leaving each of the Power 5 schools because their recruiting classes are 25 deep. And if you sign 25 guys for 4 years, that's 100. Well, what about for 6 years? Because you got 25 for 4 years. Then you got the red shirt. That's 5 years. You got an extra year with COVID. That's 6 years. So 150 guys. You can't do it. JUCO guys get left out. It has nothing to do with NIL. It has way more to do with the fact that all the college teams in America are still signing 25 high school kids. Don't care. And then they go out and they cut their roster. And they're sending kids to the transfer portal. These kids aren't going to the transfer portal because they want to be there. The college teams are kicking them out and sending them there. So you recruit you recruit 25 guys every year. And if you miss on recruits, you just cut the ones that didn't make it. You just cut the ones that didn't make it. I've talked to these young men. I said, hey, why'd you jump in the portal? Oh, we had our exit meetings in the spring. We had our exit meetings with Coach, and he said they're going to go in a different direction. They don't want us here. So I lost my scholarship, and they're going in a different direction. And that's what coaches are doing. And in the media, the kid can't come out and say, I was cut from the team, and they sent me to the portal, because then he burns that bridge, and no coach wants that guy because now he's snitching. Nope, you just go, I'm looking for an opportunity. Thank you very much for my opportunity. I'm here to move on. But when you see a 4 or 5-star kid in the transfer portal after one off season, it's because they considered him a miss in recruiting. And they love to miss because it doesn't matter. They're just going to keep over-recruiting. They don't have to gray shirt anymore. They don't have to hide it. They got the transfer portal. Transfer portal to just drop all their scholarships. Empty it out. And just keep signing 25 every year. And this year, there was no limit. They could sign more. So that's just how it's done. It's pretty easy. Thoughts on Florida's schedule in 2024? None whatsoever. I don't care. Is Micah Parsons the best defender in the league? I believe so. Thoughts on Fleck? PJ Fleck, good coach. Thoughts on Coach Riley's impact at Clemson? I don't think he's going to have an impact, Dion. I think Cade Klubnik's going to have an impact. I think Cade Klubnik is so good. Riley does not impress me from his track record and what I've seen him do in his career. I don't think he should have been hired. I don't think it's a good hire. I don't think he's that guy. He's just not. The only worse hire is Kirby Moore at Missouri getting a total hookup because his brother is Kellen Moore. But yeah, I'm not big on it. Haynes King better than Jeff Sims. Different. Definitely better in a quarterback battle. Haynes King wins any quarterback battle. Shout out to A&M. He beat all their quarterbacks 2 years in a row. Couldn't hold the job, but he can beat you in a battle. Bosa's a better edge rusher. There you go. Hey, ask Reed. Don't ask me. Ask Reed. Reed knows. Can Daniel Jones be elite, or is it ceiling suit? It's very limited. Thoughts on the Niners quarterback situation? I haven't even looked into it. Is there a situation in the Niners? Who's going to be the quarterback for ECU this year? Do you think they have an okay season? No, Danny Waller. Somebody's got to lose, and ECU lost everybody. I don't like it, and I don't even know who their quarterback's going to be. I have to go double-check the depth chart. No, I do know. I forgot the name. I've already seen his tape. But losing Holton Ahlers, like, you lost a bunch of great players. Georgia record prediction. They're going to lose 4 games. There you go. Who do you think will be the next team to move conferences? San Diego State and SMU. Thoughts on Joseph Manjack out of Houston? No answer. I owe you an answer, Fistburger. I'll go watch tape. I don't got an answer for you on that. Ask me again tomorrow. I'll let you know. My bad, Rico. I meant, how do you think the transfer portal impacts JUCO? You answered it anyways. Yeah, I know what you meant, Daniel. Do you think Marv Jr. can be the number 1 overall pick? I have no idea who's picking number 1. I'd have to know what team is picking number 1. You guys don't make any sense. You want me to make a draft prediction without knowing who's picking? What the hell? Thoughts on Oregon State football? Rewind the tape. I already talked about them. Forcing the kids out is so bad, but I guess it's a business. That's all it is. I think crystal balls have predictions off this year. I don't think Georgia will even play in the national championship game. Of course. The new running clock rule. Huge impact that no one's talking about. Not necessarily, James Campos. It's not a huge impact. It's just the NFL impact, right? It's just different. It's not going to change the product on the field. It's not going to change the product on the field, but, yeah, you won't have as much time to catch up. Will Marcus Satterfield be successful at Nebraska? I don't know. I'd have to see how he's doing. Can't wait to see the Cowboys choke in the playoffs next year. All right, Lorenzo. Sounds good. Colorado's quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, NFL prospect. I believe so. I think he has NFL accuracy. Thoughts on Wegman? Hell of a baseball player. Losing Ehlers, Mitchell, Jones, Winstead, Johnson. Yep, there you go. That's what really matters. Everybody they lost, ECU. Hey, Rico, I'm moving schools and states for my senior year. I'm a 3 to 4 star kicker. I was wondering if you could help me on how I should email a coach. Sorry to ask. Yeah, so no Alvarez. Couple things. When you want to email a coach, make it personal, right? At the very top, dear coach so-and-so, comma, be very respectful, make sure you have no errors, use Grammarly, the whole nine. Identify why you want to go to the school. I was looking at your school program. I'm really encouraged by the academics. I'm really encouraged by this particular degree program. Talk about the school first, not the football team, the school, okay? And then identify and mention your GPA, your qualifier, your SAT, your PSAT, your ACT, but all academics for the first portion of your email. Then identify who you are, where you are, and what you do, and what you feel you can contribute to their football team. Make sure it feels personalized. Don't make a template that you could generically send to everybody else, okay? You want to send it to them, make it to them. And then when you send that email, you want to send it to the positions coach, the offensive defensive coordinator, the special teams coach, the recruiting coordinator. That's not somebody's name you're going to hear often. Send it to recruiting coordinator. Send it to everybody. So when they have a meeting and they talk, they can go, hey, did you get that email from this one kid? Oh, yeah, hey, I got an email from this kid. Oh, yeah, I got that too. Hey, I didn't get a chance to read it. Did you read it? Oh, I read it, da-da-da-da. And you want that to be a part of their discussion and their conversation. And that's how you do it. But listen, if you have aspirations to be an FBS level player, you need to sit down and you need to do 3 schools a night. 3 schools a night. And never stop. Do all the schools. Pick a conference and do them all. I don't care if you want to play there or not. Do it. Because you don't know which coach is going to get hired somewhere else, get fired somewhere else. I know a kid who was sending out his emails, and he was trying to get on at South Florida, and he couldn't get on. They didn't sign him. And then South Florida's head coach gets fired, and he gets hired as the offensive coordinator at Coastal Carolina. Guess who they signed? That kid at Coastal Carolina. So don't ever stop. But email away. And remember, there are 128 FCS teams. 128 FCS teams. Not FBS. I'm talking FCS. You can find a place to play football. You got to be realistic about your options. And remember, there's 85 scholarships at the FBS level. And then there's 63. It's a huge drop. And then in Division II, there's 36. So there's only so many scholarships. Thoughts on USF and their new head coach, offense coordinator from Tennessee. So I think USF's going to be one of the worst teams in the FBS next year. I think they got their work cut out. They lost a ton of players in the portal, all their best players. Jimmy Horn Jr., Batty, losing young quarterback. They still have Jerry Bohannon, but I think USF's got an uphill battle next year. Thoughts on Minnesota's quarterback, Ethan? I've talked about him already. I want you to do a search on TikTok for hashtag Minnesota, hashtag Rico Knows, and see if I bring him up. Rico, write this down. I owe you questions. What a dude. Yeah, I write it down. I owe him answers. If Coach Prime is successful this season, do you think other schools will get rid of their recruiting bus and hit the portal like he did? So Twitch 09, every team is already doing that. They just didn't inherit a terrible roster, but every team is getting rid of the recruiting bus. He's not the only one. 51 players have been sent to the transfer portal from Ole Miss in the last 2 years. You guys all think it's a crazy number at Colorado. 51 players have been to the transfer portal, sent out of Ole Miss in the last 2 years. He's not the only one. Akron did it. Akron had 16. Indiana did it. Everybody's doing it. Arkansas just sent 30 guys to the portal. Cal sent 30 guys to the portal. They're sending guys to the portal. Everybody's doing it. You think Sam Houston will be in play to win the Conference USA? So, no, they can't win Conference USA because it's their first year in the conference, and you're not allowed to play for the conference title when it's your first year in the conference. So they can't go to a bowl game, and they can't win Conference USA. Do I think they're going to be pretty good next year? I think so. I think they're poised to do well. If you guys didn't know, Sam Houston State redshirted all their starters this year in the FCS. They knew they were coming up to the FBS, so they let all their starters play 4 games. And then they said, you're redshirting. They saved all their years of eligibility. So they redshirted. They didn't lose a single year of eligibility on any of their starters. They just let them play 4 games and said, all right, guys, you're on the bench now. And they let all their true freshmen and sophomores, all their 2 deep, get valuable experience and actually play in the games. Pretty cool. I already made a video about this, but I think it's worth telling to the masses. These guys went out and did the same thing. That they did something pretty cool. They didn't try to win all their games. They had a terrible season in the FCS this year because they were playing all these freshmen. And what's really cool is they only lost 2 guys in the portal after the season. After telling all those freshmen who actually got to play this year, they said, hey, you got to play, you got good experience, but you're going back to the bench. We got our starters coming back. All those guys go back to the bench and don't leave the program. Great culture. Great job at Sam Houston State. Shout out to them. And I think they're poised to have pretty good, maybe the next 2 seasons. I know they got Grant Gunnell in the transfer portal, and he was a stud quarterback coming out of high school, all-time leading passer in Texas high school history, and he was a stud at Arizona. Didn't get to play last year in North Texas, but he was a stud at Arizona for sure. And we'll see what they do. So I like Sam Houston State. They're going to be fun to watch for me. I obviously know all the players, so I get excited about some other stuff. Thoughts on Jaylen Brown, LSU wide receiver? No thoughts whatsoever. Nothing really. I hope Jaden Daniels can get the ball to certain players. What college team do you root for the most? Miles Marcel's, I do not root for uniforms. I root for transfer portal players. I root for players and transfer portal players and coaches. I don't care what uniform they're wearing. So I identify players in the high school level that I appreciate and support. I identify players once they get on college campuses, and I support them. And if they transfer, move to another school, I still support the player. Like, I don't care where they go to school, if that makes sense. So that's what makes me unique. I'm not sitting here cheering for teams. It may look like I'm cheering for Colorado, but it's only because every single starter on their team is a transfer portal player, and I support all transfer portal players. I want to see kids leave one situation and find a new situation, and they succeed. Okay? That's what I'm here for. Think of me as a marriage counselor. I want to see somebody find their love partner after their divorce. After it didn't work out, I want to still see them succeed. So that's how I watch football. It's weird. I know. Will Jair Brown break out at OSU? I have no idea. I don't know who's going to break out. Appreciate you answering my questions. You got it, Kobe, always. What teams do you think will rise and fall in the AFC this year? No idea, Jack Faust. Thoughts on John Rice Plumlee? I've already talked about him many times. Go find the videos. Look for it. Do a hashtag on TikTok. Hashtag UCF. Hashtag Rico Knows. That's all you got to do. Go to TikTok. Hashtag UCF. Hashtag Rico Knows. And you'll hear everything I think about John Rice Plumlee. Thoughts on Kassan Wiseman, quarterback at Colorado. So he's a freshman, incoming freshman. I watched him play in high school here in Georgia. He's a local kid. I've seen him play for a couple years. Nothing noteworthy. I don't think he ever sees the field at Colorado unless there's some blowouts. I like Ryan Staub a little bit better than him, but he's got time to develop and play. You know, good luck. I wanted to say it is what it is, but I'm tired. I'm trying to get out of that phrase. What makes Hartline such a good recruiter? How much of it is him getting to recruit? How much of it is him getting to recruit for OSU? So there's always these guys who just get it right. They're very borderline NFL players. They're just fringe NFL guys who know the position well and can evaluate talent really well. I'm much the same, right? I am a very talented person. When I played football, I wasn't – like I played with NFL guys. Some of my teammates got drafted. I don't think they were better than me. I think we're all equivalent. But if you went out and you measured our metrics, maybe they had a step on me in the 40. Maybe they were 2 inches taller. Right? That's how it kind of works with Brian Hartline. Brian Hartline's really good. Maybe he's not really NFL caliber, but my God, does he know what he's doing. And he can see the talent. He can see it on the field. He can see it on tape. And he convinces them to come out, and he can teach them fundamentals and make them better. I can relate to that so completely. So that's what I think makes him so great. Yes, he is a great recruiter because he can teach the fundamentals that he had to learn to make it to the next level. The fundamentals he had to learn to be better, right? There are exceptionally skilled players that are not great coaches because they didn't have to learn anything. They can just do it. Allen Iverson did not have to go to practice and be taught how to cross guys over. He could just do it. Now, the inverse is, can Allen Iverson go out and teach you how to cross someone over? No, he can't. He can just do it, right? Forgive the pun. When it comes to football, there are some players out there that are exceptionally skilled athletes, but they can't teach you how to do anything. They can just do it. It's innate. They're born this way. Hey, man, all you do, you just go. If I'm even, I'm leaving. I'm gone. What? That's not helping me be better. And that's why certain coaches, position coaches especially, they have enough experience and enough exposure of the game at a high enough level that they can teach you the fundamentals of it, but they can't really, really do it at an elite level. Brian Hartline was a great wide receiver in college. I thought he was good. But man, is he a great coach. A better coach than he ever was a player. And he's better than a lot of these other guys who are good at the sport. I don't want to hear, Josh Gordon teaching me how to play wide receiver. I don't want it. That's why a lot of former players are not good coaches. Number one, they don't have a desire to do it. The hours are long. You got to be committed. But more importantly, they just can't teach you something that they do so naturally. They never had to work on the fundamentals of it. It came to them naturally. It's just a part of the game. That's why so many coaches are like fringe. They're just quite, they're there. Can Division II give full scholarships? Division II can give full scholarships, but the deal is this. Division II has 36 scholarships for their teams. The coaches can split up those 36 scholarships however they want. So if you want a good roster, you got to take some of those 36s and split them in half or split them into quads, right? So then you give one guy a 2-year ride, you give another guy 1 year, another guy 6 months, get what I'm saying? So you have to divvy it up and figure out how you want to divvy it up. That's unique to Division II football. So yes, you can get a full ride, but it's not common. They got to split it up and cover the whole roster with it. So some guys get partial, some guys get financial aid, but not athletic aid, stuff like that. I'll make sure to email you and send you a preview on what I'm sending the coaches, if that's okay. But what I meant to say is high school transferring high school, not going to college, but thanks. Oh, you're going high school to high school? You just show up to practice and be like, yo, coach, I'm here. I'm the new transfer. I transferred high school to high school. I was at a high school in the hood. My twin brother and I, we went undefeated our first 2 years. We were like at JV or whatever. And we were like, yo, we want to play varsity football at a perennial power. We're out of here. This is some ghetto stuff. We're not even here. We're too good for this school. We're just dominating. We're like, what are we doing here? And we went to the rich white high school a couple 10 miles down the road. So we lied about we lived with our aunt or something like that. My dad would drop us off in the morning. We showed up to the perennial power, 13 Division I players. And we just showed up to practice one day. We showed up to spring ball. We said, hey, we're here. Coach was like, who are you guys? Oh, we're transferred from this other school. We're here now. And just started playing. And the first game we ever played, my brother scores the game-winning touchdown with a minute left on the clock to beat Riverside Poly. True story. I'm like, yo, this is easy, bruh. This is easy, bruh. You just show up, man. It's high school. No, in all seriousness, if you're trying to go to a private school or a different public school, it's been 20 years since we did it. We did what we call an inter-district transfer. We did have to go have a meeting with the coach prior to, make sure they wanted us, a whole lot of crap. I'm just joking around with you guys. But we did just show up and start balling. And then when we left, we owned school records in track and field as well. Shout out to my brother. What would you consider to be a successful year for Jimbo? 9 wins. 9 wins. Do you think if Coach Prime is good, he will stay at Colorado long-term, or will he go somewhere else? So, yeah, Colorado, Coach Prime's contract, the buyout is so huge, he's got to stay locked in for at least 2 years. But I think if he's really good, somebody else is going to hire him. He's going to lose his coordinators. If he's really good, he's losing his coordinators. Sean Lewis is going to go get a Power 5 job if he's really good. Trust. The offense coordinator will leave. And then that's what Coach Prime is going to have to struggle with. The same thing that Saban and Kirby and Dabo have to struggle with is replacing your coordinators. When you have a good season, your coordinators get hired elsewhere. It happens. So we got to see that happen for Coach Prime. Everybody who talks about Coach Prime and his coaching staff and how they've all known each other for years upon years, that's cool. But the coordinators he just met this year. The coordinators just came in word of mouth. Just a hookup from a hookup. So a lot of guys on the coaching staff, Coach Prime's coaching staff, they haven't been at that higher echelon of offense and defense coordinator. I mean, the wide receivers coach was. He just moved down, right? But they're going to get opportunities to move up and get hired elsewhere. And, more power to them. You forgot, Rico, UCF lost Xavier Weaver to Colorado. No, UCF did not. USF did. As well as 800-yard receiver Jimmy Horn. No, I did not forget that, Sports Highlights. I said they lost all their best players in the transfer portal. I didn't go out and list every single player South Florida lost. Shout out to you. Can USC and UCLA make the conference championship their first year? Yeah, USC will be without Caleb Williams. So what are we talking about? USC will be without Caleb Williams. You got to look around the conference and look for senior quarterbacks. By that time, Drew Aller will be a starter the first year. Penn State will probably be the favorite to win the whole conference. Their running backs will be juniors. Yeah, well, what are we talking about? Dog, you don't fluids. You don't fluids, LOL. You waiting on that Prime sponsorship. I don't know what you're talking about. Nice advice on the kicker. I call out what I call out. I say what I say. Thoughts on Dana Holmgren's time in Houston? Very underwhelming. He's got a great team. He's got to win with them. Is Arch Manning going to be a bust? I'm not a fortune teller. He's not a bust to me. He's in college getting an education. The fact that you call him a 5-star quarterback and think he's a bust, that's your problem, not mine. Have you heard of Ryan Williams? I know his name. Yes. Hey, Rico, you should start looking at my story. My name is Deuce Barrington, and I'm up-and-coming quarterback out of Houston, Texas. I currently have 3 offers right now. Please, can you give me feedback? Deuce Barrington, send me a message on TikTok with your huddle link and be very patient. I'm about 2 or 3 months behind on requests. Be very patient. Don't write me again or you will fall down on the list. You don't want to do that. Just be patient. Are there any players that you support on Florida? Yeah, Andy Jean, I want him to do well. Etienne, I want him to do well. I mean, there's a ton of players on every team I support. Transfers as well. I mean, the fact that I don't support players is absurd. I support the players. I support the coaches. I just don't care about the jersey. I don't care about the university. I don't care about the conference. Thanks for your videos. Thanks to your videos, I'm now winning all debates against all my friends on college football. Imagine trying to debate me. It's not good. Since Dylan transferred to Buford, do you believe Georgia's a lock commit for KJ Bolden? No, I don't think he's a lock. I think, it helps. That's why I made the video and talked about it. How many years do you think Shedeur will play in college? I hope he does 2 years. I hope he does 2 more years. What's your record prediction for Temple? Not much. I think Temple's in trouble. They have a great quarterback. Shout out to Kurt Warner's son, EJ, but doesn't look good. Do you think – sorry, guys. What happened here? Do you think Eli Ricks was a steal for the Eagles, an undrafted free agent? No. I think Eli Ricks is not good enough to make it. I think the reason you don't get drafted is teams evaluate you and say, are you better than the guys we have on our roster? And nobody thought he was better than anybody on their roster. Eli Ricks is not a steal. The only reason you think he's a steal is because they gave him 4 or 5 stars and everybody's thought of him that way. But stop hyping people up off of stars. Base them and judge them based off of their production and their performance on the field, their metrics. And Eli Ricks is not him. Think about this. 32 teams passed on Eli Ricks 7 times. He was passed over 259 times. Think about that. That's not a good steal. That's not a steal. Undrafted free agents making it in the NFL, they're not steals. These kids are just working hard. You didn't get a steal because you got them undrafted. That's the kid working hard. Who are the best recruiters in the country right now? Oh, my goodness. There's some really good ones, man. Lane Kiffin, Lincoln Riley, Coach Prime, Kirby Smart, Nick Saban. I mean, it's head coaches. You can say recruiters, position coaches out there. I got it. But there's head coaches that are just the truth. Those come to mind, though. Head coaches come to mind, not position coaches. I know there's a ton of position coaches that are great at recruiting. Head coaches come to mind. Do you think Dylan Raiola will transfer all over like he did in high school? Joseph Carlin, I don't know. Oh, my goodness. I'm trying to predict the future for the next 5 years? Practice. We talking about practice. Great story on Sam Houston State. Thanks. Yeah, no problem. Slap happy. Rico is the GOAT with advices. If I make it to Division I, I get you some nice tickets. There you go, Noah Alvarez. Get me some tickets. Is Quinn Ewers quarterback 1 at Texas? Yes, he's quarterback 1 at Texas. What? Why do you think Vegas has not come off their 3-win season after all the changes at Colorado? Oh, the line at Vegas? I have no idea. Go put your money. When you put more money on the 3 above the line moves. They're not putting in enough money to make the line move. There's not enough bets for them to move the line. What's going to move the line is betting, not the team, not who's on it. They move those lines based on the amount of money that is being bet because they got to cover their ass in that regard. They don't need to move the line right now. A bunch of people took the under. They don't need to move it. Not yet. And if a lot of people took the over, then they'll raise it. Does Max Johnson have a chance to win the quarterback job at A&M? They seem to favor the baseball guy. So they favor Weigman because he is better. But Max Johnson, son of Brad Johnson, Super Bowl MVP or champion, I'm sorry, not MVP, but champion. And his brother's there as well at tight end, right? These are two kids that played well here in Georgia at Oconee. Watched them play for a couple years. I like Max Johnson. Used to be the starting quarterback at LSU, then transferred. I like the guy. I wish he got a chance. He got injured last year. But when it comes to quarterback battles, he doesn't win the battles. Haynes King did. Haynes King won 2 years in a row. Haynes King can beat all these guys in a battle. So Max Johnson is not him when it comes to battles. Hope he gets a chance to play, though, if Connor Weigman plays bad. But he didn't play bad. So, Lewis is going to take over the Colorado job if Prime leaves. That's a decent one. SEC and the Pac-10 got the best group of quarterbacks this year. SEC does not have the best group of quarterbacks. What? SEC has the worst quarterbacks. You can be a backup quarterback and transfer to the SEC and start. Shout out to Tyler Buckner. Shout out to Jake Martinez. I mean, what are you doing, man? That's embarrassing. I can't even deal with you right now. Thoughts on the whole debacle between Bethune-Cookman and Ed Reed? You misspelled Reed. It's R-E-E-D. I've already made a video on Ed Reed and Bethune-Cookman. I want you to do a search for hashtag Rico Knows, hashtag Ed Reed, and hopefully it comes up on TikTok. I've already done a video on it. Appreciate you, Rico. You got a fan in me. Have a good night, bro. Good night, Daniel. I'm glad I put you to bed, dude. Sweet dreams. Coach Prime is going to have the Pac-10 because it's going downhill. Then he's leaving after his kids are gone. Okay. He can't leave after his kids are gone. There's still a buyout, and it's pretty significant. Thought on college football expanding the playoff. I'm excited. Could Florida fall down to the bottom of the SEC with their difficult schedule in 2024? They're in the bottom of the SEC right now. What are you talking about? They're at the bottom of the SEC right now. Florida's been at the bottom of the SEC. They didn't win a bunch of games outside of the SEC in the SEC. They lost to Vanderbilt last year. They're in the bottom of the SEC. Thoughts on Suntarian Perkins at Ole Miss? Nothing really. No thoughts. Shout out to him. I hope he does well. What era was your favorite ESPN scoreboard? Ooh. I'd have to go look at them. Do you think Clemson will make the college football playoffs? If they win the ACC, what up, Rico? What up, Jared? Thank you for the $3. Jared tips me every time I see him. It helps, brother. The pocket, I need the money. Thank you. Nobody messing with the Pac-12 quarterbacks this year. Not a chance in hell. And then there's the ACC quarterbacks. They're right behind them. Might be late, but what do you think of the University of Miami program, year 2 under Mario, on the way up? There's nowhere else for them to go but up. I think they struggle, though. I don't think they're there, but there's nowhere else for them to go but up. But I have them 4th or 5th in the ACC next year. So there you go. Look, man, not everybody knows. Rico, what does your schedule look like on a Saturday during the season? How many games are you watching at once? JT, thank you for the question. So, on a Saturday, I am watching as many games as possible. I'm watching 3 games at once, 1 on my TV, 2 on my 2 monitors. I will be live streaming. You guys can watch the games with me, But you're probably not going to like the game I'm watching because I'm watching other games that nobody cares about because I'm excited. I'm watching games that have transfer portal implications. I will be watching the big games, but obviously I won't be televising them. I'll be doing this here. I'll be talking like this with the ticker going. I'll be typing in stat updates on my top transfers. I'll be making predictions on my top performers every single week, and we'll be seeing how they perform. And when I say top performers, I'm talking about top transfer portal players. I'll be giving you guys the Rico Knows Top 25 every Monday. I'm ready for the season. We're going to do this. We're going to be our own sports network, and everybody's going to come looking for us every Saturday. We want to be rocking. Do you feel that Trey Benson is a top 5 running back in the FBS? Can he be? Yes, he can be, but he's not top 5 right now. I have him top 10 for sure. It's Vegas' year to bring in the real money this year. What college football quarterbacks you think could start in the league right now? Just Caleb Williams. How long can you watch College Game Day before the talking heads first? I don't watch it. I'm going to watch it this year only because I want to see if we get a Rico Knows on one of those posters in the back. Hashtag Rico Knows. That's all I care about is who's going to do it. If you do it and you write me a DM that you did it and you show proof, I'll get you a Rico Knows t-shirt from my merch. RicoKnows.org. Go get yourself a shirt, a hoodie. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff on there you guys can do. What game are you most excited about this year? Verified Jack, I'm going to give you guys my top 5 Rico Knows games every single week. I'm going to give you my top 3 upsets every week. I don't know who I'm most excited about for the whole season. One game, I don't got it right now. Thoughts on Eddie George impact at Tennessee State? He's the coach. I don't see much of an impact. He's the coach. Where does Trevor Etienne rank among running backs? Florida's running back room is good. I like them, but Travis Etienne himself, I don't know. Not top 10. Do you feel Donovan Smith will be the starter at Houston? Yes. What did you think that he did at Tech last year? I liked him at Tech. I liked him in several games. Go watch all the games. I watched as much Donovan Smith film as I could once I saw him in the transfer portal. So I've seen everything he's done. I like the kid. I think he's a player. How do you think OU and UT will do in the SEC? I think they're going to be relevant. I think they'll be in the top 5 for sure. There's a lot of average teams in the SEC. What you saw from Texas almost beating Bama last year was not a fluke. They should have beaten them. It was a miracle that Alabama won. And Alabama was the 3rd or 4th best team in the SEC last year. And Texas was 8-5. And they're out there running a damn SEC team into the ground. Yeah, it's real. What do you think is Notre Dame's ceiling regarding win total? 10. 10 is Notre Dame's ceiling. I think they have a down year. I have them losing 4 games in a row next year. What is your process on watching film? I watch a lot of film. That's my process. I turn it on and watch it again, and watch it again, and watch it again. It all depends on the player. I go back and find all their games, watch all their games. That's what I do. I go to their ESPN profile. I see every game they ever played in, and I go and look for those plays. It's really easy to watch because I'm watching one side of the ball over and over and over, just looking for their plays, watching them. And I'm not just watching them when they get the ball, especially like the linemen. I'm watching every play. So it's a lot easier than you think. It's a lot easier than you think. Hey, guys, just remember, if you got questions, don't ask your friends because they don't know, but Rico knows. Thanks for kicking with me tonight, y'all.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean and no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean and no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie. Just know passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify. The things that you believe in have to scream it like a battle cry, and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love. Those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make of lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a thing. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem. I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me to shine. Lucky that I grew up around some mountains